Hey everybody, welcome to the Georgia Postgame Overreaction show. My name is Radi Nabulsi. I'm joined by Paul Maharry, and we want you to join us as well. I know everyone did exactly what we were doing you tuned into the end of the Alabama-Tennessee game. I took that one on the chin, Paul. I said that Alabama was going to win that game, but I didn't expect 17 penalties from the Crimson Tide. That did not look like the normal Crimson Tide I was expecting. I thought that they would throw all over Tennessee, and they did, but Tennessee threw all over them. So congrats to the Tennessee Volunteers for a big win there, a program-defining win for the hefty hurry-up offense they have up there. It's Tennessee looks like they're going to be a tough out for the rest of the league to try to get through. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going on there. So congrats to them. Congrats to Georgia for an absolute butt-kicking when it comes to homecoming. That's exactly what you want to do. And shout out to a couple of our sponsors, friends over at the 7-6 Apparel Company, the Rogue Shop. You need to check them out. And, of course, our friends at ASW Distillery. I'm thinking Braves. I'm kind of disappointed with the Braves. But because when I think of ASW Distillery, I think of the Braves because they have a tasting room over at the Battery. So good and bad this weekend. Good, bad Saturday. Great Georgia team. Georgia looked great, but the Braves couldn't quite get the offense going. So, hey, let's focus on the offense that did work. Georgia, almost 600 yards of offense.
Yeah, 600 yards. Oh, damn close. 55-0, 579 total yards, Roddy. 387 of those through the air, and you got 192 on the ground. We're talking about penalties in that Alabama game, really crushing Alabama. Georgia only had 3 penalties for 29 yards against Vandy, whereas Vandy had 5 for 41. So really clean game by both teams. But, just overall, I know I was thinking, I was like, man, I don't know what to overreact to. I mean, I can dig deep, right? I put in the description, I was like, I can dig deep. I can find something to overreact to. And I've got a couple things, but for the most part, I think this is probably maybe Oregon was their best game so far, considering competition, right? But I think this was their most well-rounded game. They came out first half 28-0, put points up in every quarter. Third quarter, they got off to a slow start. I think Kirby mentioned that in the post-game talk with Alyssa Lang on the field. Third quarter, they got off to a little slow start, but you scored 55 points. I'm not too upset. Guys, if you're watching us, you know what to do. Let us know where you're watching us from. We'll put it up into the comments on the show. And then also, like Roddy said, the link is in the description to join the show. So we have folks that, join the show regularly every week, but we also want to get new faces. And that's what we do most of the time. We get at least 1 or 2 new guys in here or ladies every week. Roddy, before we get going real quick, though, you want to shout out the 7-6, and I've got a couple of shirts over here. This is their big week over at 7-6. I've got one on right now. Eat more Gator. So there wasn't even a Vandy shirt that Chance sent me from 7-6. He said, look, let's push this Gator stuff because he's got 2 weeks to get it sent out to you guys. It's all custom made. I've got a couple of them here. So I've got this one for the actual game, Gator Hater. It's downstairs. We've got that. Then they've got a couple more, Roddy. Let me get to them real quick. Oh, don't want to go back too far.
Yeah, show those. I'll let people know because we've had people say, who is the 7-6? What are those guys? It's basically some Georgia fans, okay? And this is not some corporate outfit. They started in a garage making shirts for the Predators, players and parents. They make most of those items to order. Sometimes it's just a one-off. So it's not this giant corporate. This isn't Fanatics.
Nope.
This is a small 3-person operation, but they're huge supporters of the Georgia community. They're direct donors to the University of Georgia. They've helped out fans. They do NIL stuff for the players, for the football team, the baseball team, the softball players. So supporting 7-6 literally supports the actual Georgia Bulldogs. So we have the promo code POS22, gets you 20% off your order. So hit them up. Screw Florida and the Mule that came in. I love it. Boy B came here on. So they make stuff like that. You won't find this stuff anywhere else. And this is made by Georgia fans for Georgia fans. So go through their stuff. Check out the 76apparel.com. It's a great site. You'll love the stuff they make over there. So, and they do they'll have some neat stuff for Tennessee. They'll have some neat stuff for when Georgia plays Mississippi State. There's not a better bunch of fans that you'll find anywhere besides our friends at the 7-6.
Right here, if Unsweet Tea were a college, it will be Florida. So, guys, like I said, now's the perfect time to get your 7-6 stuff because you've got 2 weeks to get it. So that means they can customize it, get your size, get the color you want. And if you use that code POS22, you get 20% off of your order. So go check those guys out and get your shirt ready for Florida. So, Radi, 55. I mean, I don't think anybody predicted a shutout, did they? Over on UGAsports.com. I think everybody at least had a field goal.
I didn't think. Here's the thing. With my prediction, I thought I wanted to predict a shutout because I thought they should. But I thought that Georgia had been turning the ball over a few times. And I thought I had faith in Georgia dropping the football or throwing interception, something, turning the ball over on their side of the field, allowing for a field goal, and maybe once or twice. That's just been, Georgia went those first 3 games without any turnovers, and the next 3 they had a few. And I'm just like, man, they've been giving away points. So that's why I didn't predict a shutout. But you just watched the way they were getting after it. Very few missed tackles. Now, there were some dumb penalties, throwing a guy out of bounds and pass interference. Keely Ringo had maybe his worst game I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that was gonna be my that was my one overreaction was Keely Ringo. You took it.
But Keely, just not a good game for him. But point being, this was the defense lit him up. And I think the first thing Kirby Smart said in his press conference, which is ongoing, obviously he was watching the end of the Tennessee Alabama game because he came in right after it ended. He said that he's very impressed that this second, third, fourth string basically held up and did not give up a touchdown. And going through the end, they all played to that standard. So you saw Nolan Smith proud on the sidelines going, EJ Lightsey, Jalen Walker, one of you dudes lets them score, I'm gonna light you up. So they wanted the shutout, they fought for it, and they got it. So this is Georgia back on track. We asked Jason Butt to do an instant recap. The minute the clock hits 0, we want to see his take. What just happened. We actually called it "What Just Happened," and his headline for that is "Georgia returns to form." This is who we expected to see against Kent State. This is who we expected to see against Missouri. We expect to see this in the first half against Auburn. It didn't really happen in the first half, but it was there in the second half. So, as we can talk about Tennessee ripping down the goalpost. I'm watching it go off there. It's craziness.
That's funny. Miss Mary Embroidery, she's part of the family over here at the Postgame. She says, what happens to a goalpost after they take them down? So they make they don't make ones, but they put new ones up. So those goalposts are no longer used, Mary, because they're not going to meet.
She wants to know, where does it go?
Oh, I'm sure probably some frat house, probably.
Well, I will tell you what happened to the one that Georgia ripped down, I think after they beat Tennessee. It was paraded up and down Baxter Street. It made its way downtown. It floated on a sea of people all over the place. And I think if you go to the locos on Baxter, you'll find a large segment of it all beat to hell. But basically what eventually people go at it with saws. Okay.
Oh, because they want a piece of it, huh?
They want it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're one of the people that ripped it down, you're like, well, okay, I can't take it home. And everybody wants to take it home. Everybody wants to have the goalpost from when you broke a 16-year losing streak. So, or 15-year losing. So somebody goes and grabs a saw and starts cutting that thing into segments so you can have yours. Right now, if I were there and if I could get my hands on it, I'd be slicing little pieces going, this is on eBay. We're going to start the bidding at $7,000, and you know somebody would buy it too. So it's
what's funny is Mary said she was a freshman at Brumby when they took that goalpost down.
So Mary, you were there. I was there too. So when that one came down, part of it got paraded through downtown. I'm sure you weren't downtown drinking because that
would be terrible. As a freshman,
so we'd be very disappointed if you were doing that. But if you were downtown having a virgin daiquiri or something like that, a Diet Coke, then you may have seen it being paraded through College Avenue, Clayton, and Washington Street because I'm pretty sure that made that route. I think it might have ended up at the SAE house. So
nice. LP says hard to overreact to this game. For the most part. I mean, Georgia played a really good game. 150 yards only for Vandy. Vandy's a decent team. I mean, they had 3 wins. I don't think anybody expected them to have any big wins in SEC conference play, but they had 3 wins coming in. And, 150 yards against an SEC foe, whether it's Vandy or whoever, is still pretty impressive. This is kind of a crazy stat. So 23 attempted rushes by Vandy, 45 yards, Roddy. So average 2 yards a carry there. And that's not even
you saw. So Auburn was getting their butts kicked by Ole Miss, but then they came back and made that a game. And who was doing it? Tank. So Tank and then Hunter, the other running back. They actually have a pretty good rushing attack. And Ole Miss hadn't seen anybody that, I don't say that good because Auburn's not a good team, but they had a very easy schedule. But remember last week, what was it? 19 carries or 19 yards for Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, 10 carries, 19 yards, I think it was.
And I'll be the first to say I was wrong about Alabama win. I thought Alabama would win, but I didn't think they would give up 17 penalties, and keep basically, if you want an upset, have 17 penalties. But I was also wrong about Georgia's defensive front because I keep saying that this defensive front is nowhere near as good as it was last year. But man, you keep shutting teams down like this. And granted, it's a bad Auburn team. It's Samford, it's Kent State, it's Vandy. But at least against the crap teams, you're doing what you're supposed to. Now, will they be able to stop Hendon Hooker? That's Anthony Richardson. Who's the quarterback from Mississippi State? That's so dangerous. Will Rogers. I don't know. That's a completely different ball game. Will Levis. Those guys can, the running attacks that they've had, those guys are pretty good. But shout out to the defensive line that I've been crapping on for weeks for, again, saying, look, you're not going to run on us. So
we've got Michael Archer says, good to see Eric Gilbert in the game. He can be a game changer. Yeah, caught a touchdown pass for the big fella. That was huge. That you saw the whole team on the sidelines. I think nuts. It was one of those things. If Curry would have let them, they would have all run on the field type deal. Like against Florida back in the day, You could have had a
Mark Richt style team celebration.
Yeah, I mean they would have. They seemed really pumped for Gilbert, and good for him. I'm glad.
Hey, I also want to point out, so Rick Gilbert got his first catch, and I'm going to take credit for it because they had him in there as a blocker, and I tweeted out, basically, let's get Rick Gilbert a touch here, and right as I hit send, the ball goes to him. I'm like, ooh, what else can I do?
Yeah, the magic powers.
I'm like, So, but then he got it. And so I thought, okay, this is a guy who, he missed all last year with some personal issues. Those issues cropped up again this season. And, Georgia took him on a trip where basically they wasn't going to play at all, but they wanted to keep him with the team. And they've been trying to bring him back, get him acclimated. So he finally gets out there, gets his first catch, then gets his first touchdown, which I thought was fantastic. But so he gets his first touchdown since 2020, right? Because 2021 he didn't play.
Yeah, right.
So first touchdown since 2020. Don Blaylock got his first touchdown since 2019.
Really?
Yeah, man.
2019 was the last time he scored a touchdown?
Yeah. So I was very excited for him. So Don Blaylock gets in. To me, that was the biggest play of the game because the guy who has come back from 2 ACL. So, you're rooting for Dom, and the team goes nuts. Then Kyrus Jackson has a big play as well, the big catch. And then Cash Jones, I think that might have been his first.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You had 11 wide receivers catch a pass again. They're spreading it out here. There's not one guy. You had Dylan Bell, freshman, touchdown.
Oh, his first, probably.
I was going to say that was his first, too. We had a lot of first. Popping a lot of cherries out here against Vandy. Dylan Bell, 5 for 54, led the team as a freshman. I think he also started as well. He started last week. I think it's his second start.
Last week, too, yeah.
Then you had Darnell Washington, 4 for 78, and good God, 2 of those catches.
You could highlight-worthy catches.
Yeah, you just put them on SportsCenter. They were incredible. Good old Ladd.
Which one do you pick? The one-handed one was nuts.
The one-handed one, to me, was the better of the two. But, both of them were really good.
But when you get your foot down and the other guys got you around the waist,
Yeah. Ladd, 4 for 49, and from everything we could tell, seemed like Ladd was fine. I'm sure we'll get an update from Kirby, but he's not good? So. No?
Not well. The last time we saw a guy looking like that, It was A.D. Mitchell at Samford. Like, oh, he looks fine. He's fine. And everyone said, oh, he'll be fine next week. And we haven't seen that son of a bitch since. So. I take nothing for granted, man.
I'm just saying, I think he's okay. That's just me.
I hope so, because Georgia really needs him. Again, he at least he was playing better today. What do you have?
He had 4 for 49.
4 for 49. Take that. Five targets, 4 catches. Yeah. Look kind of maybe back to who he was, but he plays so much better when A.D. Mitchell's back. So,
oh my God,
if you can have A.D. Mitchell back and Ladd McConkey, and now all of a sudden you're realizing we could throw to Darnell. He's throwing to Darnell. Then of course, Brock Bowers is out there all the time. You got your running backs. I mean, we were discussing last week is, who's the best running back? Well, it's Kenny McIntosh. Stop asking the question. That's the guy. But you get Kenny out there, but you can also hand off Dejon or Branson. We're basically, and then Arik Gilbert's all of a sudden healthy, and hey, I also want to give a shout out to Marcus Roseby-Jackson.
Yeah. 3 for 48. 3 for 48.
He started to look like that X receiver. So
I think you're still missing AD. Let's bring in Eddie from Ackworth real quick. Eddie, what's going on, man?
How are you guys tonight?
Doing well, man. Doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm up in God's country in Toccoa, Georgia. My mother-in-law is sitting on 100 acres. You can probably hear the cows in the background. So different view for you guys tonight.
Yeah. Well, where are you? What city?
The city is called East Denali, Georgia. You ever heard of it?
Never in my life.
He's making that up.
It's made up city.
It's just outside of Toccoa.
Okay. Well, since you're up there, what you think about the 55-0 game? What are you overreacting to after this one, Eddie?
There's not really a lot to overreact to. I'm glad that my points went up from 39.5 to 41.7, Paul. So making a little run there.
Yeah.
What I needed. Yeah. So
you've got some tough SEC competition coming up. This is exactly what you needed but you're not going to continue this.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Yeah, I may end up owing you a steak, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm happy to do it. So, I tell you, my favorite play of the game two of my favorite plays are the Don Blaylock play. You guys mentioned it already. Just so happy to see that kid cutting comfortably on that knee and getting that ball in the end zone. I was going crazy on that play. And then Art Gilbert. I mean, made a great catch, his first catch, and then gets a touchdown. I was just so and you could tell the entire team was happy for Art Gilbert as they were for Cash Jones when he went in the end zone. It's just that camaraderie thing you can see kind of coming together with this team. They're all happy for the other guys when they make a great play. That's what gives me the most joy watching this team.
You bring up a great point, because one of the things that made last year's team special, and I always go back to I think it was maybe the 2012 team when you had all those great defensive players on there. When you have a bunch of guys who are playing for their own stats, no matter how many first-round picks you have, and no matter how many draftable guys you have, things go sideways. You won't win. But when you see guys are like, look, my name's Marcus Roseby-Jackson. I was supposed to be a top wide receiver, but I'm going to go out here and throw a nasty block downfield and block my guy out of it. Brock Bowers, you're all everything. He's throwing nasty blocks downfield, and that scores a Ladd McConkey on the end and around or something like that, and then they all jump up, and that celebrations are normal, but these guys genuinely care about it. Kirby talks about leadership and selfless plays all the time, because that stuff is infectious. We had Josh on here. We lost him. Joshua, jump back in there if you get a chance. We'll have you on in a minute. But that stuff matters, because if you're playing for the other guy, this is a different ball game altogether. So you saw that last year. The guys, I don't say giving up what could personal glory, personal shine, but when you're playing for the team victory, it's night and day. And you see a guy that's put in a ton of work, and they all get excited about Cash Jones. They go nuts. Arik Gilbert, they know the stuff that Arik's been through. They know his personal struggles to see him get out there. They've watched, Kyrus Jackson has been banged up before, but he sees, Don Blaylock go through 2 ACLs, Who could be more excited? And then, of course, Carson Beck comes in, lights it up. Who's the first guy cheering him when he comes off the field?
Yep.
Stephen Bennett. So
that's one. Yeah.
You're right. You're nailed it.
Do you guys know, Radi, you may know more than Paul, Could Eddie have played this game and they held him out because it was Vanderbilt and we have an off week?
I think it was a situation where you have a guy's like 80%, 90%.
Yeah. Okay.
But why?
Well, exactly. If this was Florida, he plays. That's my point.
But at the same time, yeah, probably. But
yeah,
Kirby's played guys like that before,
Yeah.
and it's like, you want him to be. You don't want his last play to have been what? It'll be 2 months since he was on the field.
Right. And I guess the same for Arian Smith. Could he have played if they needed him?
He did.
Arian was in there. Yeah, Arian was in there.
I'm sorry. I missed that. I was flipping back and forth. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. He got in late. He date. He didn't get a target or anything like that, but he was in there.
Okay. That's good.
So
you get him back, and that again, but he came in. I won't say Georgia wasn't throwing then, but they didn't exactly light him up there.
Did he come in?
Morissette actually got some of the throws.
Did he come in with Beck, Roddy, or did he come in with Vandegrift, Arian Smith?
No, he came in with Beck when they were.
Yeah,
I think it was the third quarter.
Yeah,
he got in a little bit. So
okay, so I guess my overreaction is, and I know you guys were doing the same thing I was. Maybe not you, Roddy, because you're locked in on the game. You have to be. Flipping it back to that Tennessee-Alabama game. What do we got coming up here? I mean, Tennessee. They look like the real deal right now, but I will say this. Neither of those teams can play defense. I mean, it was wide open guys running up and down the field, and I'm sorry, but Keely Ringo is not going to allow guys to be going wide open like that, nor is Christopher Smith, any of those guys in the back end. I know we have a little trouble getting to the quarterback, and I know we got Florida to get through. I'm not discounting Florida because that's going to be a tough game, but Tennessee's the one looming on November 5th. That's where we got to get to get to the SEC championship.
Yeah, I mean, but Tennessee went all out for this game, Eddie. I mean, this was like, in a sense, their national championship. I mean, they hadn't won this game in 15 years, College game day was there. I mean, they were all in, right? Now, if Georgia was playing them next week, I would be like, yeah, Georgia, I have really good confidence in Georgia because then it's that bounce back game, and they're partying until Tuesday of this week,
right.
The players are. I don't know. I don't know who Tennessee has in between Georgia.
Nobody, and then Kentucky. Is that right?
Okay. So they don't have a bye week though.
No.
So yeah, they've got.
No, they've already had their bye week.
They did. Yeah. They have Tennessee Martin, and then Kentucky at home, and then they have to go to Georgia. I mean, they've got to get through Kentucky too. Sure. I think they're a good team. I think their offense is really, really
Junior
good.
Jones.
But at the same time, I don't think that their defense is that great. I don't know about Roddy, but
you know what I saw most. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Roddy.
No, you're the guest. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I know this is about the Georgia game, but I mean, Tennessee's coming up. We got to concern ourselves with those things. But I'm just so unimpressed with how un-Bama-like Bama is. Penalties all over the place, allowing Tennessee to run up and down the field on you, missed tackles, missed assignments. It's just unbelievable to watch what Bama's doing. And really, guys, Bama should have 3 losses. Think about that.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if this is and I don't want to sound like this, but is this the end of the Nick Saban era at Alabama? Is this the unraveling of it, if you will? I mean, they don't look like the Alabama of years past. Alabama is not giving up 52 to Tennessee in any of the last defenses.
And it's the penalties that they're committing.
Yeah, and we'll get Junior Jones and John in here in a second. You guys hang out there in the waiting room. We'll have you on momentarily. But to your point, Eddie, 17 penalties, a school record. I think the record under Saban was 15. They had Didn't they have 15 against Texas?
I was going to say, yeah, I think they had 15 against Texas.
So in 2 games, another game they probably could have lost or should have lost. In my 3-2-1 column, I said I was confident that Alabama would win this game unless if Alabama had turnovers, then they were going to be in a battle because every time you give Tennessee the ball, there's a good chance they could score. And I thought that they should be able to put up points on Tennessee. They have no secondary. And what do we see? They put up points on Tennessee. But then Alabama turned the ball over, and you have 17 penalties. You just shot yourself in the leg. They should have got them on 4th down. Pass interference, new set of downs.
Yep.
Okay, hey, I mean, it should have been an interception.
Right.
Okay, it's over. So I'll take the hit by being wrong, thinking that Alabama should win, but I don't know that this isn't Tennessee kicking Alabama's ass. This is Alabama screwing up, and that's my fear for Georgia. My overreaction has been the last few weeks, Georgia getting in Georgia's way. We didn't see that today. We didn't see that in the second half against Auburn. But in the first half against Auburn, why was Kirby Smart pissed off at the halftime? Georgia was getting in Georgia's way. So,
also, I don't know how Alabama has Eli Ricks, who is supposed to be this amazing corner, on the bench, and Jalen Hyatt goes for 6 receptions, 207 yards, and 5 touchdown catches. Yeah. I would think Keely Ringo could lock him down better than that. I don't know. I would think. But yeah, for the most part, that Tennessee team, they can score, but they also cannot defend. So Georgia's defense, I think, looks better than Alabama's right now.
Than both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and you're doing all this as pointed out. Georgia still doesn't have Jalen Carter in there. So
oh yeah, right.
And you're doing this without AD Mitchell. Your best X isn't out there. So, but that's just. I just don't see Tennessee playing. I don't see Georgia having 17 penalties. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank the good Lord it's in Athens this year too.
Yeah,
because Neyland's rocking right now. Yeah, Neyland's rocking.
Much like the Phillies, and I don't even want to get into that.
We're not. Yeah, I don't know if we're touching on that today, Eddie. We're not going to touch on that.
Yeah, it's just disgusting.
We're not. We're going to move on. We're going to move forward. We're going to get Jacob DeGrom, and we're going to be back next year.
That's right.
That's what we're going to do. Hey Eddie, I'm going to get these other guys. They're new to the show, man. I want to get them some love, man.
But, sure.
You have fun up there, my brother. As always, we appreciate you calling in, my friend.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
appreciate
Eddie.
your time.
See you, brother. Let's get a new guy in here, Junior Jones. Junior, what's going on, man?
Doing good. I'm just wondering, is the audio good? Because I got new headphones, so I don't know if it's going through the phone or the actual headphones.
Whatever it's going through, you sound fine. So
okay,
headphones or not, but what's going on, my man?
I don't know about that headgear though, but yeah.
Oh, well, the hair is a little wild, and I kind of try to keep it maintained.
I need one of those.
Yeah.
So the first thing, I put inside the chat, can I overreact to Georgia about a game that has somewhat nothing to do with Georgia?
Yes.
Sure, my friend. Go right ahead.
Go nuts.
So the first question I'm asking, I'm gonna keep it clean. Do we know the time period for AD Mitchell?
I would expect him back for Jacksonville. Expect him back.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm hearing an echo in this. Okay. I'm gonna try to ignore it. It's okay. Right now, watching the Tennessee-Alabama game. So one, Alabama is hurting themselves. That's what they do. They've been doing it the whole year. So we're in a weird position this year to where Alabama is not the threat for Georgia. Every year for as long as I've been alive, it's been Alabama. But this year, I'm not scared about Alabama. I'm scared about Tennessee, and I have Mississippi State on the screen right now that I'm looking at and scared about.
Glad you said that. I need to pull them up because I said this week that was Georgia's toughest game. On the road at Mississippi State with all the damn cowbells going, a good defense, crazy offense, good run game, good pass game. That game to me scares me a lot more than Tennessee, especially getting Tennessee at home.
See, yes, I kind of agree with you simply because we can stop Tennessee. I feel like the same way Alabama stopped Tennessee in the second half, I feel Georgia has the ability to do that. But as I'm watching Mississippi State, I don't really know yet because I don't watch them. I hear about them, I see things, but I don't watch them. But now they say Tennessee, Mississippi State has that same hairy offense, the same get to the line, we're going to do this, we're going to spread you out, blah, blah, blah. And I know we have a young secondary. So my worry is our secondary as good or better than Alabama's secondary?
Oh, that's so tough, man, because like Jerry Johnson says in the chat, he said Georgia's DBs need work on playing the ball in the air. I'm starting to be concerned about Ringo's ball skills. Man, that's tough. I think Georgia's safeties are just as good as Bama's. I really like Starks and Chris Smith. Their corners, man, I don't know, Roddy. I don't know. It's really a toss-up for me between the corners between Alabama and Georgia. If Ringo can get back that swag about him, then I'm okay with it. Kamari's decent, but I see they're trying to get Dalen Everett in there a little bit more every week, but I don't know.
I mean, you got to like Malachi Starks, although, again, true freshman, but what he brings to the table is big. Chris Smith was everywhere today. Chris Smith has beaten this Alabama team. Chris Smith won you the Clemson game. Keely Ringo can make mistakes, but it's all that's not him getting beat. That's him making mistakes. That's stuff that can run out of him and fix. And again, that's my thing. My issue all the time is, Junior, do you not have the players? Okay, Vandy didn't have the players. No matter how well they played, how well you scheme them, you just can't make them big enough to handle Jalen Carter one-on-one. There's just nothing you can do. But Georgia's got the guys who can do it correctly, and that's what we've seen from this team. When the Georgia players hit their assignments, they block well the point of attack, which they hadn't been doing in a few games. Receivers catch the ball when it hits them in the hands. They had some great catches today, and all of a sudden you see so many first downs that everybody gets a shot and you feed everybody. So you got the talent, But give me Keely Ringo, give me Chris Smith, give me Malachi Starks. Teams are going to pick on Kamari Lassiter, but he's gotten better.
Yeah.
Some teams are picking on Keely Ringo because
he's going to say, don't
penalty. So
I don't know why they do that. Sometimes it irritates me. Like, why are you going to Ringo?
He's going to get 15 yards. I mean, I'd be, especially when you can't run on this team. I'm like, okay, put it in the air. Put it in the air.
Yeah, okay.
Hell, you gave up a 3rd and 17 last week.
Yeah.
You hit him on, the guy was doing a slant route and Ringo was all over him. The guy should have had a touchdown catch on Ringo today. Ringo should have had an INT and he dropped it.
I'm gonna bring up this. I don't know if you guys, because I hate it this week. Because I looked at this week and I was like, why do they both play at the same time? I think the SEC messed up on that by having these two teams play at the same time.
SEC. I'm serious. I do want to address this real quick, but I hate to interrupt your thought, but the way that works out is, and this was explained to me by Josh Brooks, because I went to him, I'm like, why do you not have night games? Here's the AD, you're supposed to make it happen. And it basically, so you have CBS, ESPN, all the stakeholders who have rights to these games, they get to draft the games that they want. Some have an 8 o'clock game, some have a noon game, some have a 3:30 game. And so if you're a CBS and you get the first pick, you're like, okay, 3:30, we want Alabama, Tennessee, and that's why it's not predicted from the beginning. Like, right, we don't know in 2 weeks. I mean, the Georgia game is going to be against Florida at 3:30. The game after that, we don't know the kickoff for it, so they're going to wait until the week before the Georgia-Florida game. You'll find out the following week what time that game is going to be. Nobody knows, which sucks for people like me who have to buy tickets to Kentucky. It's like. Flights in and out. It's like, what if there's a night game? What if it's a noon game? You don't know. But point being, they don't care that you want a night game or that you've played 12 noon games in a row. They want the game that's going to get them the most eyeballs. So that's why they picked Alabama, Tennessee. Then the ESPN's like, okay, we got next pick. Well, we want Georgia because they're the number 1 team, even though they're playing Vandy.
Yes.
And we both got a 3:30 slot, so they're going head-to-head, but we think we'll get more eyes. So it's not – the SEC doesn't determine it. TV determines it, because that's why they give you $46 million to each school.
And I want to say, Junior, the second game that gets picked after the 3:30 game is actually the noon ESPN game. So that's the second game that gets picked. It's all a rotation. So that Ole Miss Auburn game at noon was actually the second pick this week. Georgia wasn't even the second pick. So,
and it should be.
Yeah, I believe it because if you're picking second, you're not going to pick in the same time slot as the first pick. You're going to pick a second time slot.
Right.
Because, like, even with me, as I was looking up, I really didn't watch the Georgia Vandy game. Like, I had it on, like, the little game pass and everything right there beside me. But it just, you expect Georgia to blow out Vanderbilt. But Tennessee, for some reason, like, this year, Tennessee has been on the wrecking crew.
Burner, maybe. Been on a burner.
Yeah. So my thing is, I feel we can beat Tennessee. We shouldn't worry about Tennessee if we're able to scheme against them. That's the thing. It's not about talent. It's not about players. It's about scheming. It's about
scheme and execution.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just about getting players in the right position to handle that offense. Because Alabama did it in the second half. I think Tennessee scored one touchdown in the second half this game and one field goal to win the game.
Yep.
But in the first half, they scored like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, first half they scored 4. Second half they scored 24 points. So.
Yeah, Bama outscored Tennessee 39-24 down the stretch. But again, 17 penalties. If Georgia has 17 penalties, Kirby Smart will die.
but one thing, like, everybody acts like Georgia is an anomaly. But what people got to think about, Tennessee moves so fast. Like, there was one penalty on Alabama to where I feel the center just snapped the ball where it was like 12 men on the field. Yeah. I feel the center looked and just snapped the ball. The quarterback didn't even see it.
Yeah.
Well,
and then
go ahead.
It's just the fact that they move so fast and everything like that. Like, you can't get set.
Yep.
So, like, anybody that plays Tennessee, their penalties are going to be higher. Even though Alabama has been having problems with penalties this whole year. So that kind of get diminished whenever we look at it. But Tennessee causes penalties by how they play.
Yep. And
you have to realize that. Like, they cause penalties. They get first downs off of penalties. You have to recognize that. You have to plan for it, basically. You have to sit there and be.
I think that's what they're going to do this week during the off week, because it's just like playing a team that runs the option. You don't see this week after week after week. So you have to prepare for it. The problem is, just like when your scout team, when it tries to mimic a option team, they're never going to be as good as a team that does it with their first team day in and day out. So Gunnar Stockton and all those guys on the scout team are going to try to run plays as fast on this Georgia defense as possible. And Georgia likes to do they substitute so much. They don't want you to substitute. They want to be running those same plays against the same 3 down linemen, so that you got Tremel Walther, Nazir Stackhouse, who, congrats to him for being able to play this week. I know he had a foot issue. And Zion Logue on 3rd down, still out there panting because, hey, they didn't substitute. So you don't get to substitute, and they want to try to catch you in a package against it. And if you're trying to run a guy on, run a guy off, quickly, they're going to catch you out of position. And then all of a sudden you got a guy who's in trail on a long pass. And what does he do? He doesn't want to give it up. So he grabs the guy by the jersey, swats his arm, and you get another 15 yards. They just converted a 3rd.
Yes.
So, man,
and
Junior, you're right.
And I'm going to say this, and this is the most overreaction crazy thing that I can think of today.
That's the show, baby.
We're in a part to where I'm looking at Alabama and I'm saying, oh, that's an easy win. But I'm looking at Tennessee. I'm looking at Tennessee and I'm like, that's a hard win that we got to prepare for. We're not preparing for Alabama. We're preparing for Tennessee and Mississippi State.
Yeah. Well, fair.
Because right now, because think about Georgia. Georgia shifts late, offense and defense. You get a late shift. What have Alabama been doing this year? They've been jumping off sides late from these shifts on offense and defense. So that's on us because that's part of that's what we do. We give you a late look, and that's going to make them jump. We're going to get the penalties. Then that's why I asked about A.D. Mitchell at the beginning, because we get A.D. Mitchell back. Alabama secondary is young and experienced and like to grab. So we're going to get those pass interference penalties.
Maybe I do like it when Georgia goes fast, though, because Georgia
to
adjust to what the defense is doing. Then when the defense is like, hey, there's only 5 seconds left on the play clock, you got to snap it now. We see what your alignment is, and all of a sudden they move, and now Georgia's forced into a play that's ineffective. And Vanderbilt, of all people, did that great when they were bringing in the safeties and the corners on run plays. They're like, we know it's a run. There's 4 seconds left on the clock. And then Missouri having Georgia's snap count. I mean, knowing what's –
Yes, that happened that game. That pissed me off that game.
You got to change the snap count. You got to change your blocking schemes. And, you go fast, man. When Georgia goes fast and they're having fun, I don't think anybody can stop them. But when they run the play down to 4 seconds left because they're trying they try to be too damn cute. Let's call it what it is. Trying to be too cute. You're trying to humiliate the guy across from you with your play call instead of just saying, hey, they can't – against Auburn, they can't stop the counter. Well, it's boring
exactly
counters in a row, but you know what? They did, and Georgia screwed around the first half and wouldn't go with what worked, and then all of a sudden the second half they're like, well, they can't stop this counter play, so we're going to run it 1,000 times, and Georgia gets 300 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And one thing I'll say about Georgia that irritates me is we don't have an identity. Like I really didn't watch and pay attention to this game. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it and watch it. But I watched every other game this season, and it seems like 2 games we have an offense identity, and then the next 2 games we're running something completely different. Like the first 2-3 games we were an RPO, worked great for us, and then after that we were just pass heavy, and then after that we were run heavy, and it was like, what are we?
But is that based on what you're seeing? I mean, is that because they don't have an identity, or is that just because that's what the defense is giving you? I'm asking you. I don't know. I'm with you. People say, "What's this identity?" I'm like,
okay. I'm gonna put it like this. Let's say you're running against a defense that's strong against run blocking, right? They can stop the run. That's what they're known for.
Yeah.
Are you gonna stop running the ball?
Yeah.
That is a fair question.
No, you don't stop the run, because as long as you're running it, they're going to load the box. And that's going to open up your pass.
Or a play action, man.
Yes.
Georgia does it. So, why does it always seem to work?
So it's like you have to commit to who you are and where you're and what you're good at. And I feel instead of Georgia saying we're good at this, so this is where we're going to be, they try to scheme towards the other team. And I feel that's a bad take. I feel Georgia is a RPO offense with Stetson right now. That's where we need to be. We need to hike the ball to Stetson. He have the handoff. He read it, and then he either pass it, hand it off, or run down the field. I feel that's whenever we're at our best.
I agree. I like to see him roll out too. I think he's great when they roll out.
Oh, I love the rollout, especially whenever you have our tight end core. You have the tight end on the right side, fake to the left, roll out to the right. The tight end take a little slant. It's 7 yards guaranteed almost every play. You can run that 10 times in a row. They can't stop that.
Hey, preacher to the choir, Junior.
Yeah, Junior, you got it, man. Hey, Junior, I appreciate you calling in. I want to get to John though. John's been waiting for.
I was about to say, yeah. I'll step out.
No, man, you had a great first appearance. Great first appearance. Make sure you come back with us, man.
We need you.
No, I watch every week. It just today I just felt I had to step in.
There you go, man. We sure appreciate it, man. And make sure to jump in with us next week too, bro.
All right.
We're gonna put him in the Hall of Fame there with Eddie from Ackworth, just as an absolute badass. But let's bring on John.
Yeah, go ahead and let's get him on here. I got him. John,
what's up, guys?
Man?
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Good. I just want to say one thing. I think, I know, and I think what's lost sight is regardless of what Tennessee did today, we were still going to have to beat them because, even if they come in with one loss and they beat us, I mean, they got us head to head. But I have a couple questions, and if you don't feel comfortable answering, I promise I'm not going to cuss or use bad language, but I have a couple questions that I want to ask you. If you say go to our site, I certainly will. But first question is, how close, or you may know, how close is Nick Saban to getting that? Are you really going to go play for that old man, that crazy old man on the recruiting trail, on the negative recruiting? About 20 years ago, I had a buddy that ended up going to Florida State, but 20 years ago, that's what Bobby Bowden was getting from on the negative side on the recruiting trail. You're really going to go play for that crazy old man? He doesn't do anything. Now, is Nick Saban involved? Yes, but he is on the verge of becoming that crazy old man and he may already be getting on the trail. You guys know better than I do.
I mean, let's see. How old is he now? Didn't he just
I think he's about to be 71, isn't he, on Halloween or something?
Yeah, on Halloween he's going to be 71.
So he's 30 years younger than Kirby Smart. And I'm not saying that they negative recruit, but that's got to be coming, right? Especially losing games like this.
Yeah, Georgia doesn't do any negative recruiting.
Sure.
I tease it, but no, it is. You bring up a good question. I'll put it to you this way, though. That's when you're pitching Alabama, you're not pitching playing for Nick Saban. You're pitching playing for Alabama.
Gotcha.
And what they do is they show all those first-round draft picks and all those guys making ridiculous money. They show, even guys like, Leatherwood, who didn't really tear it up in the NFL, they're like, look, here's that signing bonus. And Georgia does the same thing now. Georgia's like, look, here's all – you can almost be assured that, unless you're coming to play for Dell McGee or coming to play for Glenn Schumann, at some point you're probably going to have a different coach.
Right.
It's just that's how it works out. Same in Alabama. New offensive coordinator, every year, every 2 years.
Like every year,
new defensive coordinator. You're not pitching playing for that position coach. You're not pitching playing for Nick Saban. Nick Saban is not going to be the guy that's holding your hand to bring you through the whole thing. They pitched the process, just like Kirby's doing now, of going head to head. Think about it. If you're a freshman wide receiver now, the guys you're going up against on scout team are 2 5-star cornerbacks. You got Jaheim Singletary on one side, and
Julio Humphrey.
Yeah, Humphrey's on the other side, and Dalen Everett's playing there as well. And you're like, man, I got to try to beat Tyke Smith, as a star. I'm in the slot. It's good on good. So when you see like Zion Logue out there, he's banged his head against Jamari Sawyer for years. He's gone up against guys like that. So to answer your question, no one's saying, even if he were. The former coach
Bill Snyder,
South Carolina, and
Lou Holtz.
Yeah, Lou Holtz. Even if you're going, Lou Holtz isn't much longer for this world. That's what people are doing in South Carolina. He's not going to be there very long. Even then, it doesn't work because they're like, look, you're coming to play for the school. The position coach is like, come play for me. Look how many guys we got in the NFL. And they can just say that the coach is the general manager, so they're not able to negative recruit him on age yet.
Right.
But it's going to take a lot longer. And he's so intense when you meet him on the recruiting trail. You're like, man, this guy's in full control of his faculties. He's a little intimidating. He's telling me that he can put me in the NFL just like he did these other 30 guys at my position. I'm going to go play for him.
I got you. And then my next
number 2 class last year, and would have been number 1 if Texas A&M hadn't had a hose pipe full of cash. So.
Yeah, right. And my next question, and if you don't want to answer it, I completely understand. But as a fan of you guys and all and your site and everything, and I'm gonna preface this by saying I think Coach Smart is the best thing to happen to us. But I also feel like that he is more tolerant with the national media than he is with you guys. And this is just me from the outside, not just you, but all of our, I want to say local, but all of our beat media. I feel like, and this is just a fan, and again, Coach Smart, I'm sure you watch this stuff as much as you say you don't because you want to find out what people are saying. I'm kidding. I feel like you guys do a hell of a job, and sometimes more information comes out on Saturday morning on College Game Day or on a Paul Feinbaum show than – and it's no knock to you guys. I feel like it's more tight-lipped with you guys. Is that because you have a relationship with these players at such a young age through the recruiting process and he knows you guys know these guys on a, I want to say, personal level? But it's just, and again, hard to nitpick a 55-0 win. And again, I love Coach Smart. That's something that really just chaps my ass because I feel like you guys – I don't feel like we have any – there's a guy out in L.A., that TJ Simers that writes for the L.A. Times, whatever, that always tries to bust these people, just being a jerk. And I don't feel like there's anybody on the beat that does that. But I also feel like that, man, he just rails y'all all the time.
Well, he doesn't – I know he's not happy when we break a lot of bad news. And we do. We break more news than anybody on the market. And if anybody wants to argue with me, I'm like – I'll show you my list and you show me yours and we'll talk about who broke the most stories. And,
right.
I know that it upsets him. I get it. He wants to control everything that goes out there. But, when a kid does something wrong and we break, or a kid gets injured, we break that. And he would rather us not break any injury news because he doesn't want the other team to know. But we will dig. Everyone said that A.D. Mitchell would be fine. Kirby said when A.D. Mitchell got hurt, he could have gone back in. We haven't seen him since. It's been, 6 weeks?
Right.
Today, he said Ladd McConkey could go back in. Do you think I'm going to believe him? Hell no. I'm going to dig on it. And the day after everybody said that A.D. Mitchell could go back in, we came on the Dawgs vent and said, pump the brakes. There's more to this. We don't know how bad it is, but we don't expect him to play this week. We did that. Nobody else had it. I'm sure they weren't happy about that. They would like everyone to know that, he's fine. Go with what Kirby said. Point being, what happens with TV is because they have the TV rights, they get to go to practice or at least sit down with Kirby, Todd Monken, Glenn Schumann, Will Muschamp for like half an hour to an hour on Thursday and talk to them about each individual guy. And they get stuff. Now, it's embargoed. They can't talk about it until the game's in motion, So they'll come on and say, good tackle there by Nazir Stackhouse. On Wednesday, he was in a boot. And people are like, look, I didn't hear about this on 24/7 or UGA Sports or the AJC or whatever. And we're like, okay, well, we didn't know about it. But they told the TV guys. So it always looks like sometimes he's telling the TV people or the radio people more than us because here's the thing. We don't own the rights. So there's no contract that says we have to, he's got to sit down with us for an hour and tell us stuff. Now, they don't come out and say, Todd Monken's not going to be, okay, if we complete a 3rd and 13 on first down on their side of the ball, we're going to throw this go route, has tendencies and stuff. So even though we dig and we break a lot of news, sometimes they give the TV people tendencies and backstories that we don't get. And that's part of the contract. They have to do that. And that's why, in the summer when they say, hey, every SEC school is getting their share of the TV revenues for $46 million. We can't give them that kind of money, so
right.
We didn't get some of that stuff. But still, we did tell everybody that Nazir Stackhouse was in a boot in the middle of the week. But, stuff comes out. Like the Stetson Bennett thing, I think they mentioned that he had a sore shoulder last week, that the TV guys did. We had seen it the week before that he got banged up and, was a little tight. And we knew that on Monday they kind of held back on him throwing, but they held back on everybody because it was a situation where everybody was banged up. So we didn't know if that was just a special Stetson thing or just we got so many guys with bruises, we're going to go light this week, and then they mentioned on the thing, and people are like, why didn't you tell us that, he had a slightly bruised shoulder? I'm like, because he didn't miss any practice.
Well, y'all do a hell of a job compared to Gary Danielson. I'll say that. And that's probably not a compliment, but
thanks, John.
Thank y'all for having me on. Thank you.
See you, man.
Awesome. Hey, let's bring on Dane and Rimmer Bulldog at the same time. I'll get Dane.
Chat with Rimmer Bulldog first. I'm looking at the stat.
Okay. Let's get Rimmer, because Rimmer was on here the other day and did a great job.
Hello?
Rimmer, what's up, man?
How y'all doing?
Man, doing good. How are you?
Doing good.
Give us your thoughts.
Great win. Exactly what I wanted to see. Us execute better on offense, start fast.
Yeah.
There was a couple times in the red zone we had to kick field goals, but for the most part, I feel like we did what we were supposed to do. I mean, defense, again, shutout. And for the most part, I think our defense has played well all season. Even in the Missouri game, we gave up some yards, but we held Missouri to 5 field goals in that game. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, I think Carson Beck looked real good. I mean, I was impressed by
great.
him.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I think we played almost flawless. Obviously, Tennessee-Alabama game was crazy. I was flipping back and forth. Obviously, I'm looking to a November 5th matchup with Tennessee. I mean,
I think everybody is now. We had a question come up, Rimmer, in the chat. You think College Game Day will be headed to Athens for that one? And I say absolutely 100% yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. Because I feel like, watching Florida right now, they look below average. So we should beat them by a couple touchdowns minimum. So I don't know who Tennessee plays next week.
Tennessee's got UT Martin, Rimmer, and then they've got Kentucky after that. And but that Kentucky game's at home for Tennessee. Then they come to Georgia.
Okay.
I think they should be undefeated.
I think it's huge that we got Tyke Smith and Jonathan Bullard back, because we're going to need our nickel cornerbacks in that game against Tennessee. Because I think I'm pretty confident in Ringo, even though he, struggled a little bit against Missouri, but for the most part, he's been, hasn't given up a touchdown all year. Lassiter, same way. He got beat a couple times, but he's been pretty good. But the nickel cornerbacks with Bullard and Tyke Smith, it's going to be huge against Tennessee's receivers. Because you saw Alabama, what killed them today was their nickel cornerbacks just got torched. They could not stay with Tennessee's slot receivers.
Exactly right.
I think that's huge for us to get, having Tyke Smith who can cover, who's played a lot of snaps throughout his career. Obviously, Javon Bullard has played great all season, so that's going to be huge against Tennessee.
No, I think we didn't even mention him, either one of those guys, Roddy, when we were talking about the secondary. I think that Rimmer hit it on the head with that one. That's going to be a huge position that Alabama just didn't seem to have today against Tennessee, where Georgia's got 2 guys that are really good right there.
And I feel really bad about not mentioning them, because the star position for Georgia is so important in what they do. They had that star out there so often, with the 5 cornerback, strong against the run. It's huge there, and that's why Javon Bullard and Tyke Smith got beat out because Javon Bullard was tougher. Just took on blocks better, was better a tackler. But Tyke Smith has been playing lights out the past few weeks. So, I'm with Rimmer 100% when you look at the fact that when I was mentioning why I thought Alabama was going to win, I'm like, Anthony Richardson at Florida. This is probably Florida's worst passing team in a long time. Threw for 450 yards against Tennessee. I'm thinking, what will Bryce Young do to these guys? And, he torched them, but I didn't expect Alabama to get blown up on those long bombs. I mean, the guy would say averaged 29 yards a catch or something.
Who's a Tennessee guy?
Yeah, he just killed him.
Yeah, Hyatt averaged 34 and a half, and then 5 touchdowns.
Just there's your SEC player of the week on offense.
There's your national player of the week.
Hey, congrats to him. But point being, it was I didn't expect Alabama to look that bad. So I'm with Rimmer there. Having 2 guys you can roll in, and heck, even in dime packages. But if they're both playing well, then you're not so worried about them going fast, because you've got a guy who can stop the run and can cover the slot. And I think that's gigantic. And I just don't think that Alabama has a secondary right now. So I think they got exposed. Hey, Rimmer, quick question for you. I saw a lot of people that were mad that last week when Alabama dropped, they went down and they went either from 2 to 3 or 1 to 3, depending on wherever, was it last week or the week before. Where do they go now?
Ooh.
Are they going to show up in the
in your rankings, in the Rimmer rankings?
Yeah, Rimmer rankings. I love
the Rimmer rankings. Where is Alabama next on Monday?
Probably behind Michigan. Because who was number 5 last week? Clemson?
Yeah, Clemson. And they're having a dogfight right now with FSU. FSU's 14. I think Clemson just scored. So it's going to be 14-14 middle of the second quarter. So Clemson score.
I think Bama stays ahead of Clemson because, they're going to be like, well, Bryce Young, was he really fully healthy? Even though he looked healthy, but they're going to say that. And it was a shootout. It could have went any other way. So I think Bama probably stays ahead of Clemson, but falls by Michigan. I would go right now, even though I love my Dogs, I would have Ohio State number 1, Georgia number 2, close, Tennessee number 3, Michigan 4, and Bama 5. I think that's how it's going to be next week. I could be wrong.
I think you're wrong just because I think UGA stays at number 1 because Ohio State didn't play this week. The rest of it I love. The rest of it I love though. The rest of it I do love.
That was his rank.
Yeah.
No, that's Rimmer rankings. Yeah, he said he could be wrong, and going up against him. I think I'm with you on everything except I'm going to flip Georgia and Ohio State. But you're right on with putting Tennessee 3 is. People are going to think you're crazy, Rimmer, but I think you're spot on when the rankings come out. I think they're going to be 3.
Hey, they're bowl eligible.
And how many this week? You're going to hear a lot of national media pick Tennessee to beat Georgia or say they're going to come out of the East. I can already picture it. Yeah, Tennessee beat Bama, so they're probably going to beat Georgia now, even though 2 different teams, and we got a much better defense than Bama does. I mean, I feel like our secondary is way better than Alabama. Our linebackers, I'll take our linebackers over Bama any day of the week, but it's because they beat Alabama. So the overreaction is going to be Tennessee's going to win the East and make the college football playoffs. So, hey, listen, but I don't care. We see them in a couple weeks, and good thing that game's at home. I love my Dogs, but I'm glad that it's in Athens instead of in Knoxville.
I'm with you 100% there.
Definitely.
The place is going to be sideways when Georgia takes the field with that game, just like it was in Knoxville. I mean, you got to give credit to the Tennessee fans. That place is incredibly loud. So, all right, hey Rimmer, we're going to let you go, and we're going to
let you go. Rimmer, sound like you getting into something tonight, brother. Just have a good time.
It's all right.
You're good, man. We'll see you. I don't know what Rimmer's getting into. Rimmer's going to have some fun tonight. I could hear it.
I want to mention our friends at ASW Distillery. We got the Fiddler Bourbon. I got the Georgia Heartwood here. It's fantastic. I put it together for my old-fashioned, Victory old-fashioned. Of course, even if they lost, it would still be an old-fashioned sitting here. And let's bring on Dane to talk a little bit about our friends at ASW Distillers.
I've got the same one.
Distilled by Dawgs. I want people to understand that this is actually 5 of their 6 founders are Georgia alums. Okay, so these are people who are big Georgia fans or watch this game. But this is the most awarded craft whiskey distillery since 2018 at the prestigious San Francisco World Spirits Competition. It's basically like the national championship of the spirits industry. And they won. You see it on your screen there. Look at all these silver and gold medals. For the Tire Fire or the Fiddler, or the Georgia Heartwood, they got the Resurgence Rye, they got vodkas, they got a ton of stuff. But they also have 3 tasting rooms in Atlanta. We want you to go try those. The biggest ones at the Braves Stadium, or the newest ones at the Battery in Atlanta. Try it out when you get a chance. It's fantastic stuff, and we're giving away a bottle each week. Okay, so. I'm actually looking up right now. Let's see who won this.
While you look that up, let me give people just an idea of kind of how this partnership came to be. Because I was a fan of ASW and Fiddler's products, mainly the bourbon, before we ever had any talks with them about like, hey, do you want to join in what we do? Also, my day job, I work at the University of Georgia, and I saw their name pop up in one of the, I think it was Bulldog 100, is like one of the fastest growing companies run by Georgia alumni. And I'm like, ooh, those people kind of sound like our kind of people. So we connected. I reached out to them, and they were all about working with UGAsports.com and the people that support us. So you should support them.
Yeah, Georgia Heartwood, San Francisco 2021 World Spirits Competition Gold for that one right there.
That's good stuff. Hey, welcome to Alan Rush, R-U-S-C-H. Alan is the winner of the bottle of Fiddler. So, Alan, I need you to email me, Radi, R-A-D-I, at UGAsports.com. Send me your address, and we will send it on to our folks at ASW Distillery, and they will do a fantastic job of getting it to you. How they get it to you kind of depends on where you live. Certain localities and places have weird rules about shipping liquor. So, if you're nearby, maybe they drive it over to you or ask you to swing by or whatever. But congratulations, Alan. I will, while you guys are we get Dane's thoughts on the game, I am going to launch the next week's the next giveaway, and I will put the link in the comments section. So while you guys talk about that, I am going to create the next giveaway. So y'all do that.
Well, while Roddy's doing that, Georgia on Tap last week did not claim his shirt. So I am buying somebody a shirt from the 7-6. It's in the chat. #76. You can enter in, and I will buy somebody a free shirt. I forgot to put that in when we were doing that. So #76, guys, get you entered into the drawing and get your shirt. Dane, what's up, man?
Hi. How are you,
Hair's
Paul?
looking great. Did you cut that?
I did. See, look, we vibe now, Paul. It took us a couple years, maybe. But we're on the same page now.
Same page.
New Orleans made that happen, I think.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Maybe some Vegas when you about died.
Oh, yeah. I had to hold on to you there. Much like Georgia
is Radi
held on.
doing a Tennessee celebration cigar? Is that what that is?
I have one every week, man.
Yeah, he has one every week. Yeah.
Go Vols, right?
No,
hold on.
Hey, this homecoming week, man. Come on.
Hey, Chance, I will match that. Whoever wins the shirt will get a second one from Chance. So, guys, get
Chase,
your entries
bruh. Read. It says Chase.
It's Chance. Just don't worry about it.
It says Chase. So either he's wrong or you're wrong.
It's whatever. 7-6, guys. #76. Get it in. We'll draw it up in a little bit. Dane, your thoughts on the game, man?
Thought it was good to see Georgia's passing game be mostly efficient and solid. I'm sure that's what y'all talked about. I did come up with the stat that I was looking for. It's kind of a funny one for me. I have a love affinity. Let's go affinity. I like that better because the other is kind of creepy. Cash Jones is one of my guys.
Yeah.
Name, look. I mean, I actually think he's a good player too. I didn't know that until I've seen him play. So Cash Jones scored a touchdown today, which is kind of fun.
You think Kirby's mad at that he scored at the last second like that? Or is it like he's a walk-on, let him have his time to shine?
If Kirby's mad at that, then, man, he's down on the list. He had to find something.
I'm curious, Maybe you want to keep it 49. I don't know.
If he's mad at that, then he's probably mad at like DJ Shockley for something, just randomly for like a post-game interview question. Cash has as many rushing touchdowns as any Kentucky running back. Period. There is no Kentucky running back that has more than one rushing touchdown this year.
Wow.
And Cash Jones now has one. Now, Will Levis has two. So quarterback has two. That's your guy. I know. So, again, we're vibing, Paul. So that's my stat of the night for you. Just to rave about Cash Jones and how he might be Kentucky's best running back, except he's a walk-on at Georgia.
Jesus.
The other game I wanted to play with you, and Paul, here's one. Can you name the undefeated teams? Because today's been carnage for the undefeated ones. Ooh. So we have, as far as I see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I see 10 undefeated teams, some of them in action right now. Would you like to try to run down all 10?
Yeah, I think I can do it.
Let's do it.
All right. You got Georgia.
Yep.
Ohio State, Clemson, Michigan, James Madison.
James Madison lost today. Georgia Southern took him out. You don't go into Paulson Stadium in Statesboro and think it's just going to be okay.
Jared Binkos.
Okay. So I'm at 4. Oklahoma State,
They got beat. TCU came back and took them out in
Okay,
overtime.
then TCU.
TCU.
Oh boy, there's 5 more. Holy
Yeah.
cow. Radi.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing the big one of the day. Come on.
Tennessee.
Oh yeah, stupid me. All right, yeah. So there's 6. Damn, there's 4 more teams. There's no. Oh my goodness.
Think California.
Okay, yeah, USC. There's
and
there's no. Oh, UCLA.
UCLA.
Yes. All right, so we're at 8, right?
Yeah.
I
think journalism school.
Northwestern.
No. God no. God.
I was gonna say no. Journalism school. Mizzou, Northwestern, Georgia. I mean,
Syracuse.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. And then I'm gonna go.
You're missing an SEC one. Lane Train, baby.
Ole Miss.
Lane Train.
God,
now, here's the thing. I have no idea if Ole Miss is any good. I know that they have momentum and they have.
Trevor said laughing my ass off Northwestern. Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
They beat Nebraska and Ireland and, started that come apart.
That's on me, Trev. That's on me, brother.
So to me, Ole Miss started 7-0. Theoretically, would you be surprised if they finished 7-5 with their leftover opponents?
I don't know. I mean,
it's Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, Arkansas, and Mississippi State. I don't think that'll be 7-5, but I could see anything from 12-0 to 7-5.
Well, here's the crazy part, though, is there's only 10 teams left that are undefeated, and we really are just now getting into the heavy conference play for a lot of these teams. So you're going to see USC play Utah tonight. That could potentially knock USC off. You're seeing Florida State and Clemson right now are tied. Then you've got the SEC West who are going to run each other through. Like you said, Ole Miss. Georgia and Tennessee, one of those has got to go. They have to.
Michigan, Ohio State, obviously.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're down to maybe 5 in just 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Look, if you're an SEC fan, you need to be rooting for Utah tonight. Because if USC beats Utah, it is a little cakewalk up until UCLA and then Notre Dame.
UCLA is not.
Right? So I agree with you. I think USC would beat UCLA pretty easily. And then you're at the end of the season and you're looking at USC and Notre Dame. And I keep telling you, and I say this jokingly because the schedule actually doesn't line up for it, but Notre Dame had that atrocious start, and somehow, some way, Notre Dame's going to be 2 losses, find its way to 10-2, and then be ranked 5th heading into the weekend that everyone else is playing conference championships. They don't have one. Someone's going to lose that shouldn't. Notre Dame sneaks in and gets blown out by 40 in the first playoff game. We've seen this every year. And I'm not saying it's going to happen because they have to play Clemson in a couple of weeks, and I just don't see that going Notre Dame's way. But if they get through that, oh boy.
Clemson, Notre Dame?
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
I know.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, and also, I think I'm contractually obligated to not do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because it kind of ruined my year last year. If you're doing Heisman odds right now and you're wanting to play smart money, and I could be eating these words by the end of the night if Florida State wins this thing. But I think Uiagalelei's the smartest, potential profit right now.
No way.
All right. I will get off after this. All right. I think CJ Stroud is in the driver's seat to win Heisman.
1,000%.
Yes. He will almost have to get injured to not win it at this point. That's likely the case. That said, you can't bet him now because you're not going to make any money. So if you want to bet $50, maybe you come home with 55. That doesn't do anybody any good. So if you're trying to find where the smart money is, who's a quarterback from a contending team? Because that's typically who wins the Heisman. And you look at it and can Bryce Young get back into this? Well, he just had a loss and he's kind of injured. And I mean, technically he might get to be a finalist, but you rarely find 2-time Heisman winners. It's only happened once. And so you start looking down the list and you're like, is it Stetson Bennett? And he's probably not throwing enough touchdown passes. Is it Michigan's quarterback? Nah, I don't see that. Clemson. So if you're looking for a number 2 contender, they have to keep winning, obviously. But I fell in this trap last year, and I'm doing it again.
So they got to keep winning, and you need an injury. But, hey, we made this on the Georgia watch-along show. Alabama's had injuries. Tennessee's not Tennessee. Well, Tennessee did have an injury. I mean, this guy's got banged up once or twice. Arkansas, Kentucky, it just happens that, quarterbacks do get banged up. So you could see a situation where, God forbid, Stroud gets hurt or something like that. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, who's our guy now? And they're like, oh, well, we're used to voting Clemson QBs in here. So a muscle memory for some of these people. So,
well, and look, I don't want anybody to get hurt. If Stroud were to get hurt, Stetson's right back in the midst of this just because of his story alone. And he's throwing some touchdown passes, and his yardage is good. He just doesn't have touchdown throws right now. So who knows?
I don't know. Heaven forbid Hendon Hooker and they beat up on Georgia. He's got 15 touchdowns and 1 interception right now, 1,800 yards. So he could be a guy.
Heupel's agent right now has got to be sending us some text, right?
Oh yeah. Let's move on from that.
All right, I'm about to pop out of here so y'all can chat with some of the people.
We'll see you. Hey, we're going to bring on Jeremy Neighbors. Jeremy's a good friend of the show. I won't say him as fan because that's assuming something, but we'll have him on. And then we got Gregory Jackson on hold there. We'll bring him on in a second. But I do before we get to you, Jeremy, I want to mention our friends over at the Rogue Shop. If you get a chance, folks, hit the Rogue Shop. They have the Delta THC gummies, the 50 milligram ones. Please do me a favor and don't eat the whole thing at once. But the Rogue Shop was basically set up by a former member of the military. Richard's a good guy. He also was a heck of an athlete. He got injured and he was looking for pain medication. He was looking for something to help him out when, you get banged up. He tried all the different pain medications and they just weren't doing something for him. So he tried a cannabinoid, basically something that it's an anti-inflammatory. He found THC, he found CBDs, he found all this stuff. And it's like, wow, this works for me. So they have medications, these gummies that will help you sleep. They have ones that will help you they have the creams and the tinctures and stuff that will help you if you are in pain. So check out the Rogue Shop and get something to help you sleep or help you if you are in pain. If you want something for THC, which is a little more fun, some people use it to help them sleep, some people to help them have a really good time. Check out the THC gummies, the Delta H. They're fantastic. I do recommend. Don't take a whole one when you get one. Now, right now, I'm showing the hard copies or the hard candies, but they do have the gummies. So I'll show you the gummies as well. I recommend for your first one, do the gummies and just buy one, take a quarter of one or a half of one. And again, it's not an immediate thing. Give it some time. See how you feel. Do it that way. If you use Bulldogs 10, you get 10% off your order. Hit up Rogue Shop, rogueshop.com. See all the fun stuff they have. Heck, they even have lollipops and hot chocolate and hard gummies and the tinctures and the sleep gummies. They're sold out of the sleep gummies. That's one of their hottest sellers. You see it. They can't keep them in stock because it goes so fast. But hit them up when you get a chance. Try out the CBD. They also have the Delta 9. So they have Delta 8 and Delta 9. Try them out. See what you think. All right, Jeremy, give us your thoughts on the game. Your overreaction.
Man, not really an overreaction. I just thought the number one team came out and played like a number one team is supposed to look like, or how they're supposed to play in a game like this against an overmatched opponent. Got the shutout that I wanted again because I'm still, I know Kirby doesn't care, but I'm still a little pissed off that they canceled on that senior day a couple years ago. So I'm still glad.
That's a good one. I forgot that. You hold a grudge, man.
Man, yeah. I can't help it. I'm still that took away that senior day for those guys. That really made me upset for them. So I'm glad to continue seeing Georgia just pound it to them. Like, hey, guys, just remember your place, doormats. Also they come out with their handout for the, all the money that they get from being in the SEC. But anyway, I was glad to see Gilbert finally get back on the scoreboard today. Glad to see Cash Jones get him a score. Other than that, it's just they did what I really wanted to see them do today. Play, come out, start fast, be dominant, stay relatively healthy. Hopefully, McConkey's not too banged up, and then try to get healthy next week before the real season grind begins.
What's wild is you talked about that Vanderbilt team not playing Georgia. If I remember correctly, Roddy, that if Georgia would have won that game, and I'm pretty sure they would have, that would have been the most wins by any senior class. That was the big gripe with that. Was that not? I'm almost 100% sure I'm correct on that. Kirby Smart's, those would have been seniors. That would have been the most wins by a senior class. And instead they had a tie for the most wins in a senior class. So it made this win even better for Georgia with them coming back to Athens. I'm sure there's some guys on that team that still remember that heavily because they would have been the most, I forgot which team it was. It like that 2020 team, whichever one it was. That was the big thing. So the Doors get back into Athens and had to face Georgia with some wrath. So maybe that's why Kirby wasn't upset when Cash Jones scored that last touchdown there. Maybe that's why he said, "Hey, go ahead,
Clark Lee, it's not your fault, but we owe these SOBs a whooping
Yeah.
for this. They were supposed to come down here and hey, that could have been a black jersey game too. You never know, But and again, it's like,
why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?
I'm just
Why?
saying it could have been one of those, and everybody gets all excited, but it was that was I completely forgot about that. And here's the thing: that year, Georgia played a bunch of games that people didn't know about, with a lot more guys out for COVID than that was announced. There's some guys that this guy's not going to be available, this guy's not going to be available. And dude, everybody suffered through it, but you played with who you had, and we saw other teams. Was it like a Mississippi State or Ole Miss team? They're like, we got 58 players, available, and they went out, and or Missouri, I think it was, they didn't have anybody, and they went and played their games, and then Vandy's like, oh, we can't make it. Like, well, screw that,
So that was Malik Herring, and I just had his name, Malik Herring and
Holyfield and guys like that.
Yeah, Ben Cleveland, those guys, they would have had the most wins as UGA seniors or UGA players, and Vandy back.
I hope they left a year early, but I was just thinking the guys in that class that could have, that were like that. Julian Rochester, maybe, but of course, he's still over there.
I was going to say, he's still there, isn't he?
I just saw this on the ESPN ticker. Not sure if y'all have noted this or anything, but I just saw Georgia's the first FBS team with multiple shutouts this season, now that they got their shutout number 2 today.
Huh. I did not know that. I knew that they were up there in terms of points scored against them. I did not know that they were the only team that had 2 shutouts.
And pretty impressive. I did the average in my head after the game. Granted, this team's still young, still got a long ways to go, but they're basically averaging. Their average score right now is 42-9. And considering what they've lost, how dinged up they are on offense, and still, you still got Jalen Carter missing. 9 points a game. That ain't too shabby, guys.
Yeah, it's not bad. And Minnesota and Illinois played each other today, so they're out of the way. Iowa did not play today, so Georgia is still second, or Georgia moved from 4th to 2nd in terms of points allowed on the season. And that's only because Iowa did not play today. So Georgia has played 7 games. Iowa's played 6. Iowa's given up 59 points. Georgia's given up 64 through 7. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm not that I doubted you, Jeremy, but I did check the math on that. It's 9.1, which means 9 points. So you're back into single digits. Granted, you played a bunch of garbage teams, but Samford's still winning. Kent State's better than we thought. You blew up Auburn, but it looked like Auburn was going to get absolutely destroyed by Ole Miss, but they came back and put up points on them. So, heck, even Kent State, it's a good ball club. So, has Oregon lost since they played Georgia?
No. That to me is still outside of Tennessee beating Alabama earlier. That to me has, I think, arguably been the best win of anybody, was Georgia's win over Oregon, because what they're ranked 11th or 12th. Now, prior to Tennessee's win this evening.
Yeah, so you're basically giving up 9 points a game. That's badass.
Now, you're right. That's probably the best. That's probably the best win. Go ahead, Jeremy. Sorry.
So I will say, man, it's I told y'all a couple weeks back, I'm originally from Tennessee. Man, all my family and friends have been texting, celebrating back home, and I'm glad for them. But it's kind of it's a two-edged sword, man. It's a little vexing now because that game on November 5th. First things first, get healthy. Deal with those nasty reptiles in Jacksonville. But that game on November 5th, I can't remember a bigger home game possibly coming to Athens. And the only thing that potentially worries me is, I think they're going to have to force Hooker into turnovers, because I don't know I don't know if Georgia, same question as last year. Can Georgia do a shootout with Tennessee? And for me, it's not Stetson. Stetson's not the issue for me, even though I know others, there's still that portion of the fan base that does. It's the receivers that concern me. Were we to get in a situation like that?
Well, hopefully,
but he also has to hit him, and he's missed a few. So I'm with you there, but you do worry about this team in a shutout. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, Georgia's got that running game they can lean on. You can do what teams have tried to do to Georgia, which is limit their number of possessions. Keep the ball in with your offense. You don't have to go out there and chuck it all over the field, ground to pound, try to make them stop it. You'd want to throw it because their secondary obviously gives up a ton of passes, and and Todd Monken, he said if all things are equal, he likes to throw the ball. I get it, but man, the receivers, we saw those drops. That makes you nervous, and Stetson has been off a little bit. But today, he almost threw for 300 yards, and it was pretty doggone good.
Couple of things there, Jeremy. You get A.D. Mitchell back, hopefully by then when you play Tennessee. He'll already have a game underneath his belt against Florida. And then also the emergence of Darnell Washington. You've got Brock already. You know what Brock can do in the passing game. Darnell Washington.
Arian Smith.
Yeah, but I'm saying
that's what I'm hoping. I'm really hoping Gilbert can kind of get with the program. I don't know all the personal details, what's going on with that young man, but I really hope he can kind of come on and, get him in there with Washington and Brock. And then, like you said, Paul, back there with AD. And I think that's a hellacious, I'm blanking on the number for four, for not trio, but anyways, that's
quad.
Quad, yeah, to defend against. But see, that's the thing. Tennessee's got their own little trio that's going to be tough to defend against. It's going to also be good too for Jalen Carter, hopefully to get back and healthy too, to generate pressure on a Hooker.
Yes, 1,000%. Him, Marlon Green, my man. Appreciate the $5. We appreciate
that. Hey, folks, you can hit the super stickers or the what do you call them? The super chats.
Yeah, super chat.
Couldn't think of it, and pop those up. I'm not going to go buy another bottle of Fiddler because hopefully they're going to send me another one. But we do use that money. It goes straight into our gear. So I bought 2 new microphones this week. Spent another $500 on microphones so that in these post-game video interviews, our sound can be better when you're in a group setting and everyone's trying to talk to Stetson Bennett, Lad McConkey, or Jalen Carter, whoever after the game. We're trying to improve our microphone. So every dime we get on Super Chat, stuff like that goes to gear. I don't pay Paul or anybody like that. And we probably should, but screw Paul. So we need good gear, and it costs a lot of money. So we do appreciate it when folks do that. That's why we put it on the screen there. So,
Hamwich says, "What about this, Jeremy? Kentucky 0, Mississippi State. Well, now it's 3-3 going into halftime." He said maybe Mississippi State can be slowed down, huh? What about that, Jeremy? Mississippi State still scaring you, or what?
That might change my whole outlook.
Yeah,
it makes me feel better because something I was throwing out to a friend earlier today was, if Georgia takes care of business against Florida, can take care of business, that trip to Starkville also worried me. How do you get up 2 weeks in a row? A big game against Tennessee at home and then go on the road to Starkville. But yeah, Kentucky's showing me, this is making me feel better about that trip to Starkville too. So it's a week to week thing. Who am I worried most about? 1 week. I'm worried about Tennessee all year just because of their offense. But yeah, it's kind of flip flop back and forth now here. But I tell you, just one last question. I'm going to get off here for the night. Where do y'all think Tennessee swaps with Bama in the rankings there? Shoots up to 3?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. This is the biggest win of the season. Every eyeball was on this game. Every eyeball.
They might not jump Michigan though.
Michigan looked good against Penn State. Yeah, so maybe it goes Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Tennessee. Probably.
I can see that because Michigan
did look. They'd be top 25 now, so I just want to look at it because get a better feel for it.
Because I think Michigan.
Michigan kicked Penn State's ass.
Didn't Michigan get a first place vote too last week, if I'm not mistaken?
Not in the AP. So it was Georgia. In the AP, it was Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson 4, Michigan 5, Tennessee 6. So Tennessee at 6 beats number 3. You could see them swap places, but I could see the way AP voters tend to go is Alabama drops. If Clemson wins, they move up, Michigan moves up, and then Tennessee's 5. But having knocked off number 3, I could see them jumping Michigan, jumping Clemson. It's just going to be tough because I could definitely see them Alabama dropping to 7 as USC moves up if they beat Utah. But it would not surprise me to see Clemson and Michigan just move up because if they win their games, Michigan will say, look, yeah, Tennessee beat Alabama. Congratulations. But Alabama was not playing like Alabama normally does, and it was a home game. But we beat the brakes off Penn State, who's number 10. So I can see Michigan jumping to 3 and Tennessee jumping to 4, and maybe Clemson drops to 5. Especially if Clemson loses, then it's really easy for them. But they don't like to drop teams that win very often. Although they did drop Alabama when Alabama won from 1 to 3. So who knows?
And I expect Clemson to win, but I mean they're still looks like they're about to go to half here. They're only up 3 right now.
Yeah. Either way, though, I think that the game against Tennessee is a top 5 matchup in Athens. So wherever Tennessee lands, it's going to be a top 5 matchup. Let's see. Antoine, Mr. Sampson, man, we appreciate the $5, man. We appreciate that sticker. You're good luck, Jeremy. We got two super stickers while you're on here.
Because they think they're giving it to him for his baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I had to put him down. He was getting to he's had a long day with Dad watching football. Had to get him down. But real quick, Roddy, you were asking if I was a fan of the show. Of course, I'm a fan of the show. Love you. But I'll tell you what I did. I'll go back because y'all upload the audio to the podcast. I actually go back with my job. I get up at like 3 a.m, headed in all over, depending on where I got to go in Houston, and I'll listen to the show all over again, just driving in Monday morning on into my work day. So. Anyways, guys, man, y'all take it easy and look forward to catching y'all in the next game. Hopefully after a beat down in Jacksonville over those nasty little reptiles.
All right, Jeremy.
I cannot imagine being up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, yeah. I'm still up. I'm still up.
That's what I'm saying. See, so people say, "Hey, I got up at 3." I'm like, I got up in the morning. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Now I know a 3 at night. I don't know a 3 I don't know it coming the other way. I never understood that. I've gone the other way.
I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
LSU has beaten Florida bad. 35-21, 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. Holy cow.
Oh, I really want to watch that.
Man.
I love to watch Florida lose, but I kind of watch.
And then Mississippi State, like I said, Mississippi State and Kentucky just in a real barn burner. 3-3 at halftime. Just watch out.
See, this is my fault, folks, and I apologize because I wrote in our 3-2-1 column that Tennessee was going to give up a ton of yards to Alabama through the air. Alabama would win, and I'm really worried about Mississippi State. And what happens? Tennessee wins, and Mississippi State has scored 3 points against Kentucky. I don't know. So maybe I'm wrong. But the transitive property doesn't work. So just because you scored a ton of points against one team doesn't mean you'll do the same against the next week. So
also USC 21-7 right now over Utah in Utah. So USC, like Dane was saying, that's
muscle memory too. People vote them up. Like I'm used to voting. Some of these older guys have been around. They're like, I'm used to voting for USC and Notre Dame and Clemson. So all of a sudden, and Michigan. So even though Tennessee gets this big win, they're like, well, Tennessee hasn't been good for 16 years. So since Phil Fulmer left, so Tennessee may not get the love that they deserve for being where they are, or the fact that Alabama shot themselves in the foot repeatedly. But hey, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Tennessee. I was wrong. But Alabama did everything possible to lose that game, and still scored 49 points. And missed the winning kick. So I'm not saying I'm not a believer in Tennessee. I was wrong. They did much better than I expected them to. But you can't expect to score 52 points on Georgia and have Georgia commit 17 penalties at home. I just don't see it happening.
Here's the thing, though. Eddie made a great point earlier. He said Alabama should probably have 3 losses right now. Texas game, and then what game was
A&M.
Yeah, A&M. Thank you.
That non-pass interference call.
Correct.
And I did say, I want credit for this one, though. I did say in the write-up, a lot of that game would depend on how the referees called it.
Yeah.
And normally, Alabama gets away with murder. Let's call it what it is. They do. The champ gets the benefit of the calls, and that's, Nick Saban is the champ, and they don't want Nick Saban yelling at them, so they get a lot of calls go their way, and not this time. I bring up Maharry Carmichael's post about poor Florida because you can tell that he's just crying. He's so distraught, Oh, is that a home game in Florida that's losing?
Yeah, it's a home game for Florida. Indy Clip, who was the first. Indy Clip was the first comment on the video when we got up. He said, "Game day coming to Athens." Right? I'm assuming you're talking about against Tennessee. I'm looking at this week just to give us an idea here. You've got Alabama, LSU. It's at LSU. That's not going to be a bigger pull than Georgia, Tennessee. You would love to get on campus to Athens after they won the national title. So I'm assuming they would love to come to Athens for at least one game.
And I can tell you this from inside baseball stuff, they love coming to this town.
Let's see, Kansas State and Texas. Clemson, Notre Dame. It's at Notre Dame. That might be the only one, but that's tough. That's tough because NBC
like going there too.
Yeah, NBC has access to that game. I don't know. That's the only one that's going to hold you up. But I don't think Clemson at Notre Dame. If Notre Dame continues to win, though, that's tough. Tennessee being in the top 5, coming to number 1 Georgia. You haven't been to Georgia since they won the national championship. I think definitely I'm putting money on it right now. Put my nickel down. Indy Clip. I think game day will be in Athens that week.
Notre Dame, are they even ranked?
Not right now, but they will be. They're 3-2. They're just going to continue to climb back out of that hole.
And there's not a chance. If they've already got 2 losses, screw them, because you're going to get a Tennessee, an undefeated Tennessee, and an undefeated Georgia.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, again, if Georgia loses Florida, which stupider stuff has happened in that stadium, I'm never guaranteeing that win. But man, that would that'll be a Georgia Tennessee game day wildness.
Do they go to? Does game day go to Jacksonville?
I think they have in the past. I'm pretty sure they set up once outside the stadium. I'm sure some of our readers probably went over to that.
Hey, if you're watching the chat, let us know. Have you ever seen game day in Jacksonville? I vaguely remember.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, I vaguely remember. Yeah, Indy Clip said they have. Yeah, I was going to say I vaguely remember they did it once.
I'm trying to remember, but I just remember it wasn't the. I was trying to remember where they set up the stage.
I don't remember that
because it's
Was that the Landing?
No, because they want to be right by the stadium and get everybody to come screaming through there. So Miss Mary says they were there the year she
was there.
Okay.
Chase says 2002, the night game in 2002. I thought there was one more recently than that, though.
I do too.
I feel like I don't know.
I get Chase credit. Chase remembers, but 2002. I was there, trust me, but I can't remember stuff like this. I can't remember what I did for lunch.
Guys, don't forget to put in #76, the number 76. I'm buying you a free shirt from the 76, and Chase is matching it too. Getting 2 free shirts, guys. I've got 16 entries right here. I need more entries than this. I'm telling you right now, I need more entries than this.
Dude, you got a 1 in 8 chance of winning.
Yeah, I need more entries than this. More entries. #76, the number 7 and 6. I need more entries before I buy you a free shirt. That's all I'm saying.
The 2002 gave me PTSD.
Let's see. Chase says, my first trip there, I was 17. I could never forget the things I saw that weekend.
Dude, that is a coming of age. If you go down there at 17, you see some stuff.
Indy Clip says
adults are they don't make mistakes, but you see a guy hung over a rail and there's a big puddle of puke underneath him and everybody's just walking past him because it's just like, okay, he's done. That's
Indy Clip says 2012, and I think they were down there in 2012 because I went to that game. I was a student. I saw some stuff down there. I've told you about the story where the guy got hit by the SUV, right?
I don't know. Was I driving?
No. No. I was a student, and we went down there. We were leaving the stadium. It was a Florida fan in jorts, and he was drunk, all pissed. Walks right into the middle of the road. Black SUV hits him. Boom. He falls over right in front of us. SUV sits there for a second, doesn't get out of the car, anything like that, goes around him. Buddy gets up like nothing happened, yells, "Go Gators," and runs to the other side of the I kid you not, I've got two of my best friends that were standing with me watching it. Runs to the other side of the road like nothing happened. Like he didn't just get hit by a car going 20 miles an hour. Craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. There's the hashtags. We need them. Yeah, those entries are getting there now. Yeah. Jacksonville is a crazy place. I'm taking the wife this year, Roddy. First ever Georgia game. Taking the wife.
I'll be that. I'm going down. I have to do a speaking engagement that week. And I do enjoy going down there for the game in Jacksonville. I know a lot of people don't, want – Kirby says he wants it gone, so a lot of people want it gone. But I'm like, the money people – like it there because they have houses, on Amelia Island and stuff like that. And they have houses all down there. They get together. That's their tradition is to go down there for that game. And I get, every other year you want that recruiting weekend. But I'm like, some traditions are really strong and the fan base really likes them. So I can kind of see it.
So record says 2018 and Holyfield was the guest picker. So there you go. They've been down there quite a bit then. Yeah. My brain's going away from me, Roddy. Slowly but surely.
Well, that's because you smoke too much.
Yeah, probably so. Use hashtag 76, guys. Like I said, get it in. We're getting the entries up now.
If you're just joining us, shout out to the 76 Apparel Company for giving away a shirt. Paul's giving away a shirt as well. The way you join the way you get your entry in is to, in the comment section, post hashtag 76. So if you're wondering, why is everyone doing that? It's like, are we putting up prayers for number 76? No, it's just that's how you get in there. So I saw some other names out there.
So you can get a shirt like this right before the Georgia-Florida weekend. Eat more Gator. So, Roddy, what else? I want
to point out Dejan Edwards was Georgia's leading rusher again.
Was he?
Yeah. Another TD. McIntosh looked phenomenal today running the ball, I thought, and catching it. So he had Kenny Mack had 9 carries, 43 yards. That's 4.8 a pop. Dejan Edwards 4.9 a pop. But then receiving, you got Kenny McIntosh with 2 catches for 22 yards. So, for 20 yards. So
if you want to look at something and overreact to it, if you take that Cash Jones run out, because I was looking at the stats before fourth quarter started, so before any of that trash time, I think Georgia was averaging 3.3 yards a carry. So that's not like Georgia. But Kirby also said, I think it was last week, it's a 4-quarter game and you wear those guys down at the end of the game. Those stats still matter. So Georgia finished the whole team as a collect, rushing 5.1 average per carry, just right where you want to be.
Yeah, but let's look at what Vanderbilt was doing. Okay, they were playing their safeties up a line and bringing their cornerback on run plays. They were selling out to stop the run. So what did Georgia do? They threw for 387 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, people were talking about we've gone 3 weeks without a passing touchdown. Okay, well you had 4 today. And you threw for almost 400 yards passing.
And what about Beck? We haven't really touched on Beck.
We need to talk about Beck because I thought this was probably the best I've seen Carson Beck look. 8 of 11, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, you're not going up against Vandy's best at that point, and you've broken them, but still against air, that's good. Against a team with a pulse, I'll take 8 of 11 for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, 2 great drives. He looks sharp, got a cannon of an arm, and again, that gives him that confidence so that to bring him in when you need him. And we just went earlier in the show. We talked about how all these different SEC teams have had quarterback issues where guys have gotten hurt. You have a running quarterback in Stetson Bennett. He got tagged a couple times today. He got a sore shoulder. He was running for his life a few times. He got sacked and got rolled up. So you want to have somebody who's ready to step in. And games like today, you didn't have this in some of your other games where you had to play your starters like against Missouri the whole time. This is what you need. This is how you prepare for the rest of the season. Just in case, let's say, just gets a twinge or something, you can run Carson Beck out there and be ready. I thought he played great.
What's up with those 2 sacks by Stetson? They looked offensive line to me looked fine. It looked like he just kind of held onto the ball too long, and it was on the same drive, I want to say.
They brought too many guys.
Yeah.
They ran that Georgia runs it called, I think they call it cross dog, where they send in the both guys and both middle linebackers on both A gaps.
Yeah.
And yet Dejon Edwards is supposed to pick up, or one was a straight blitz. Dejon picked up the wrong guy. He was blocking the guy that Cedric Van Pran was blocking. So it's like, look, if the center has that guy, you got to pick up somebody else. You're not here to double team, and he just didn't see him. And Stetson just got killed. But another time they brought both inside linebackers. Again, you have to gamble when you are the team that's completely outmatched. So they bring in a bunch of heat, and they take away the run, or they try to affect the quarterback. There's another blitz where the corner came in, and Stetson's threw it to Dylan Bell. Bell catches it, makes a first down because it was the hot route. It's like, okay, that's the guy that should be over him is coming in. So you throw it to him, and you get that quick points there. But the bigger question, though, is how many sacks did Georgia have?
It's a good question. Hold on. Let's see. One. You had one by Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
1 sack, and then in terms of quarterback hurries, they have 0 listed here.
See, I don't know about that because they affected the quarterback a good bit.
I'm just telling you, don't shoot the messenger now.
No, I'm just saying I don't know what their quarterback hurry stat. I mean, that to me that's a judgment call.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, 4 tackles for loss, which is good. But yeah, you're not getting sacks, and I thought that they would bring some heat, which they did occasionally. But every team has seen that. Look, you don't want to sit there and try to wait for our wide receivers to get open, sit in the pocket, and try to pick this team apart. A lot of the teams are doing it: catch, throw. We don't. You don't want to let this Georgia defense tee off on you. So
yeah.
And again,
Alex,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, Alex says it's invaluable that we've played many of our 3 and 4 deep in multiple games. You're right, because those quarterback hurries, I think Nyland Green should be credited with one because he came off the edge right there and almost decapitated Mike Wright if he didn't throw that football. Yeah. So Nyland Green, that should be a quarterback hurry. I don't know why they don't count that. I guess because it wasn't, I don't know. It was an incomplete pass. But Nyland Green looked good. So you're getting to see more guys, make plays that if you were to have a Keely Ring go down or somebody like that, you have guys that can
go to Dalen Everett.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I like what I saw from on the other side, Denylon Morissette.
Yeah.
What do you have, two catches?
Old Morissette had 2 for 12. Yeah, but he looked good in both of his catches, though. Yeah. I think he got extra yards both times.
And for folks that weren't with us to begin with, I think to me my first play of the game was Don Blaylock getting his first touchdown catch since 2019. Yeah. But then you see that one-handed catch by Darnell Washington, like, holy crap, that's amazing. And then he had the catch on the sideline. And then my play of the game was to see Arik Gilbert, who's gone through this kind of personal hell. He gets a catch finally. I'm like, yeah. Then he gets a touchdown catch. That's even better. Then Cash Jones has a 36-yard touchdown run. Well, I think it was on 3rd down.
Yeah, and then Dylan Bell had his first touchdown
second
as well. Second.
I think he had one last week. Somebody mentioned that in the comment section there. I need to go back and look.
Whoa. Let me take a look at that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of guys getting their first touchdowns of the year. Cash Jones, Gilbert, and Washington. 78 yards, man. Sorry,
I think Amari's right. How many times has Georgia sent a blitz? I write about this each week that they're going to try to affect a young quarterback, but when a guy's getting rid of it that fast, maybe you need to keep those guys back there in the secondary, especially with you got Kamari Lassiter this first year starting. You've got Malachi Starks his first year. He's a true freshman. Maybe you're just not ready to send the corner blitz as much as they did last year. Maybe those guys just can't do it. Maybe, if a guy vacates a space, somebody has to pick up that spot, right? They have to pick up that man, pick up that area. Yep. and maybe they just don't feel comfortable with it. But sometimes you can run twists and stunts, and I just haven't seen as many of those. How many times do you see Dumas Johnson coming through? He kind of needs to stay back there and, play develop. Whereas last year you could send to Kobe all the time because when he took off and you had Quay Walker there, you felt good about it. If you sent Quay Walker and, you left Channing Tindall there, you felt good about it. Right now, I don't know if they want to send Dumas Johnson and leave Rion Davis sitting there. Maybe Smile Munden was there. You shoot through that A gap. So where's your blitz coming from? Who's the extra guy? And right now, do you send Keely Ringo against who's 14 for that guy was open or catching passes all day
for Vanderbilt?
For Vanderbilt, yeah.
Let's see. Will Shepard. Will Shepard, 3 for 45. He was targeted 17 times. And he had a drop, but yeah, he was their leading receiver.
7 times, yeah. So they threw to him 7 times, and he had that drop that could have been a touchdown. So Shepard was, 45 yards, 19 yards after the catch. That was the. So do you take Keely Ringo off him, and then have somebody? Who do you roll up to cover him? So.
Alex Mitchum says, my wife's overreaction take was that they didn't give the homecoming king and queen more time. They were like, congrats, now get the hell off. Did they? I don't know. I don't remember.
Hey, Alex, were you guys at the game? Because I don't remember seeing them on the screen. I wasn't paying attention during halftime. I was watching the Alabama game.
Yeah, I was too. Must have been at the game, but I don't remember when I was in school. Radi I guess they did that. I probably didn't pay. I was probably going to get nachos or something like that, or trying to sneak in a fireball out of my boot or something.
Well, it depended. When I was working for the UGA Athletic Association as a team photographer, I was told to stay on the field, get a picture of the homecoming court, get a picture of the winner.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
So
I knew it was homecoming, but how do you? Yeah. Oh, he says it's a Greek thing. Okay, I was going to say, how do you get nominated for the homecoming court at Georgia? I'm assuming maybe each fraternity and sorority promotes one. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Don't they have like I thought the Greeks had their own thing.
Alex says.
I thought you could represent any organization on campus. They could nominate somebody.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Kat Who says organizations nominate.
See, thanks, Kat. Hey, I was right for once.
Not just Greek. I have no idea. So,
but I'm guaranteeing though, you can get a lot of Greeks if so. You got a Tri-Delt, and she's in it, and they're like, okay, we want all the Tri-Delts to reach out to all your friends, and we're all going to vote for this person, So, versus the student union or. Well, I don't know. I bet the Baptist Student Union could rig the vote with enough folks there, or the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, they could do it, Maybe Rec Sports gets all the people involved in Rec Sports to vote. So I can just see where if you're telling everybody to vote a certain way, you could win it. So
here, I found it. Hold on, I'm going to put it up just to show them off because, who knows?
Block voting. I don't want to talk politics, man, because that's going to get us involved in.
Congrats to the king and queen candidates of the UGA homecoming court: Antavius McCartan, Bryson Henriott, Connor Lamb.
Hey, wait, is that Connor Lamb?
What? He's representing University Judiciary.
Oh wow.
Raimundo Moncayo. That's
you missed one. Go back.
Oh, my bad. Obamid Samai, representing the new student orientation. Hispanic student orientation for Raimundo. How do you say his name? Middleton?
Yeah, Middleton Parker, man. Come on. College of Engineering.
College of Engineering. Madison Polk, Student Alumni Council. Why are you not saying these? Why am I having to do this?
I don't know. Elisa Fontanellis.
Thank you. Hispanic Student Association and Claire Myers, Arch Society.
Oh, you take the easy one.
And Calvin Roush, the William Tate Honor Society. Who won, guys?
These kids look a whole lot better than they did when I was in college.
who ended up winning? Who was there? Chip Crook says, oh, geez, homecoming court talk now. No, guys, it was homecoming, guys. We had to shout them out. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Injured? All right, we're going to talk about that.
Will Levis is injured. Oh, no. What happened?
I don't know. I'm just going off with Brett says that. Hey, Brett, give some details there. Yeah, and that brings up a question. Antoine's talking about, where's Brenton Cox on this Florida team?
Let me see. I can find out for you. He's talking a lot on Twitter. I know that. Brenton Cox this year.
So Brett says he's holding his non-throwing shoulder. Now they went to commercial. Steve's pink shirt. We appreciate Steve's pink shirt. Get it. Maharry says he had a big hit. Man, Will's just – again, we were just talking about quarterbacks being banged up, and stuff like that going on. And they had him – they were without him for a while. KJ Jefferson was out. Bryce Young was out for a while. So this is why you get Carson Beck in there and you get him a lot of throws. It's just it's hell. I mean, let's look at Kirby Smart. How many years he started with one quarterback, and a couple games in, he's up with a different quarterback. I mean, Jake Fromm comes in for Eason. You start out with Dwan Matthews, and Dwan can't help you beat Arkansas. I mean, you're supposed to have Jamie Newman start that season. So Todd Gurley could have been nicer. Correct, Alex. Todd Gurley is a good dude.
Yeah, I saw Todd was at the game. So Brenton this year, 30 tackles.
Did they do something? I saw Champ Bailey was there too. Did they have an announcer for Champ at the game for being in the Football Hall of Fame? Where's Brenton Cox?
Yeah.
Somewhere behind the play.
Yeah, 30 tackles for Brenton this year, 7 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. You know who I'm pumped, Roddy? I'm so pumped. Yeah, it's not bad. It's actually not bad. You know who I am so pumped to see on this Florida team? You're not going to believe it when I show you this guy. You've probably seen him already, though, I would think. Where is he? The 400-pound.
Probably I got an answer for you. How you're going to stop Hooker? A sniper would be the best thing.
Jeez, Roddy. Holy cow.
I'm talking about on a football field. You can call the spy. You can call him the sniper.
Dear God. This guy, man. Desmond Watson. If you haven't seen him, watch the Florida game. This guy's 6'5", listed at 415 pounds, Roddy. He is a massive human being. Desmond Watson. He's number 21, guys. I want to see him go up against Georgia's offensive line. This guy is huge. And it's not like he's just in there. I mean, he gets some stats too. Let's see here. This year, he's got 8 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Not bad. Not bad for a guy that's 415 pounds. Omari said, that is my guy. Hell yeah. Dude's a
Omari was talking about him earlier in the show.
Yeah. I mean, goodness gracious. 450 listed at 415 pounds. I don't know if I believe it, but he's pretty big, Roddy.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm thinking if he gets a hold of Dejon Edwards, he might plant him in the dirt, but he's got to catch Dejon first.
Right.
So come on, big boy.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can get to him.
But hey, props to him though. 415 pounds playing SEC football. It's not bad. Do you get drafted? You think you get drafted at 415 pounds?
No.
just
no. I mean, what is the entire NFL now is predicated on speed?
Yep.
No, so that's and people are like, why y'all put so much into the combine 40 days? It's not, you don't run 40s in football because it's a speed test. Yeah. The guys that are fast win in that league. It's the fastest thing on grass that you've ever seen. So I know you think about those big behemoths out there cracking each other's skulls in the trenches, but the skill guys, and you don't understand how fast those big men are. And if you got a guy who's lumbers around, I mean, if 400, those guys could be 400 pounds if they wanted to be. They got personal trainers could get them up there. They could put on that weight and say, look, try to move me. But I mean, who's the last guy that was big like that? Wilfork?
Probably. Yeah. No, I think he was like 380.
And he's one of the strongest guys out there. He threw guys around, but I mean, you don't see a bunch of Wilforks out there anymore. It just can't do it.
This Desmond Watson kid at Florida, he came in as a freshman, 6'5", 400. They actually bulked him up, 6'5", 415.
Hey, I'm going to say there's some times that Jordan Davis was big. I'm going to say he was 400, but he had some weight on him.
You bulk up a guy, But look at these two pictures. I want to show you real quick. You're telling me right here he's 400 pounds on the left, and then he only goes up 15 pounds.
That might not have been because they wanted him to.
I'm saying, look at the face though. He added more than 15 pounds. My man's
that's a freshman 15.
yeah, that's something. That's
the freshman 15. He came in 400. He's 415. I don't know what your problem is, man.
That's all they added, right? There's no way that guy.
Hey, look, trust me, 15 guy, if you do a profile photo, it always makes you look fatter.
Yeah, you're right.
Here, take a biscuit in. It's.
Hold on.
I try to be straight on the camera. Lift my chin up. Try not to look as fat as I am.
They said his nickname's Mattress. I don't know why.
Because he puts you to sleep?
I guess. Or if he falls on you, yeah, you're going to sleep. I don't know.
What you smother him with?
Yeah.
He smothers you like a mattress? To me, I don't know how it would work out, but you remember in the Godfather, they go to the mattresses,
Yeah.
Going to war.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. So
42 LSU, 21 Florida. Oh boy. Florida. What is
no, Florida's about to score here.
Hold on. Over under, Roddy, on
Jesus Christ. LSU couldn't tackle anybody.
Let's see here.
So you gotta have a penalty on that. The guy dives in the end zone, then spikes the ball. And
so Anthony Richardson's 9 of 14 for 133 yards and 1 touchdown, no interceptions. I would have thought it would be much worse than that.
Anthony ran 81 yards for TD. Anthony Richardson.
I was going to say he's got 7 for 21 right now. So 8 for 102 will look a lot better on the stat sheet.
Oh, well. Remember, this is a guy that threw for 450 yards on Tennessee. So you can see why I'm like, I don't know that Tennessee's as good as everyone thinks they are. Their secondary got torched by this guy,
Yeah. Yeah. 24 of 44 for 453 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception against Tennessee.
Mattress, he's big and soft. I like it.
I guess. Big old boy.
Dude, I don't always have the game up, and I just happen to look down here on my iPad and see that I was watching that run. You got LSU guys banging into each other. It's like if you played that little Keystone Cops thing, or like the Benny Hill theme song.
Yeah.
For anybody who's my age remembers Benny Hill, then you'd see that. That's what it looked like. And that was terrible.
Florida come back in this game or no? It's 42-28. Any chance?
We're
gonna be off. We're gonna be off air by the time it ends. So any chance?
So can Florida score 2 touchdowns to keep LSU from scoring, but at least tie it? I don't see it happening.
And then
if you're gonna give up 81-yard touchdowns, I mean,
looks like Clemson's run away 31-14, starting the third quarter against FSU. 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Mississippi State 3 with the ball against Kentucky 6. That's a barn burner, like I said. USC 28 to Utah's 14, about to go into halftime. Hey, want to give away this shirt, Roddy? We got a bunch of entries.
Yeah, do that.
Let me give this shirt away. All right, guys. Last chance. Hashtag 76, the number 76. Give you 30 seconds. 30 seconds to get it in. And I'm going to pull this.
And after you put in your hashtag, hit the like button. That would mean a lot to us.
Yes.
Brent Rollins pointed out that the UGA quarterbacks combined for 32 completions on 41 pass attempts for 387 yards and 4 touchdowns. 11 different players with at least 2 receptions. So you mentioned 11 guys catching it. I didn't realize sometimes it's just like, a guy gets like a 1 catch, but somebody else had 7.
Yeah.
11 different guys with 2 receptions is freakish. And 8 different players with at least 20 yards receiving. Remember, we were talking about where's Georgia's passing game. We spent the first 3 games wondering where Georgia's rushing game was. Why can't Georgia run the ball? Georgia's throwing it all over the place. Then they started running it, and your quarterback didn't have a passing touchdown. Everybody's like, where's Georgia's passing game? Well, it's back in spades today. So 8 different players with at least 20 yards rushing. We're talking about Tennessee with that powerful offense. You also have a pretty good offense in Athens right now. getting it to everybody. Darnell Washington making crazy plays, and if you don't want to throw to Darnell, you can throw to Brock Bowers. And if you get A.D. Mitchell back and if Ladd McConkey's okay, that's pretty good too. So,
all right, guys, you ready? 35 entries. We're going to draw this thing up. This is for a free 7-6 T-shirt. I'm going to buy it for you, and Chance is also going to. So you're getting two for free right here. 2 for free. Good luck, guys. Let's see. Come on. Go ahead, Roddy. I have no chance at saying this name right.
Chad Donnerschwantz.
Chad Donnerschwantz. Yeah. Chad, you got to message me on.
What the hell avatar is that?
It's like a Pepe frog on the moon with a guy that's got a 6-pack. So
I mean, you got my body on there, which is kind of rude, But why you put the frog on in my head? I mean, that just hurts my feelings.
Hey, Chad, you got to message me on Twitter. Message me on Twitter, and I will get your address. You tell me which 2 shirts you want from 7-6, and Chance and I will get those to you. Again,
and what is your Twitter handle?
Yeah, my Twitter is right there underneath my name, @PMaharry. @PMaharry. Maharry. So, guys, we will do this again at some point. I'm not going to keep throwing away my hard-earned dollars here, but I will give you a shirt. So, Chad, you got to message me on Twitter, though. So it's right there underneath my name, @PMaharry. You see it right there. So, congratulations, my friend.
If I butchered your name, I really apologize. But,
he says, let's go. Any clip thinks it's a bot. I don't think so. I don't know. I think he's real. So you got to message me, man. Which 2 shirts you want? Good deal, bro.
Hey, let's run over the injury updates real quick.
Yeah, what you got?
Anthony Dasher's put up his news and notes on the board. So a wide receiver, Ladd McConkey, left the game late in the third quarter after what appeared to be a hit to his ankle. I don't think it was a hit. I just think it's the way he landed. It was an 18-yard catch. The injury, at least initially, does not appear to be serious. Of course, that's also what we said about A.D. Mitchell. Kirby said, Ladd's fine. He could have gone back in. We taped his ankle up. I thought it was worse than when it actually happened. He came back and said he could go. That sounds great because you need Ladd McConkey.
Isn't that the same exact thing you said about AD? Like almost
word for word? I'm not trying to call Kirby a liar, but he said the same thing about A.D. Mitchell. Oh, he could go back in, and we haven't seen him in 5 weeks. So, but he said he could have gone. But at least this time he said that I thought it was worse than it was. He taped it back up, and he came back and said he could go. But, of course, Ladd McConkey would probably try to go out there if his foot had been cut off. So, sometimes when you have all that adrenaline pumping, you think you're ready to go, but then the next day or two, it's we find out that things are worse than you thought. It swells up or something like that. But we will keep an eye on that and see how it goes. The good news is he's got 2 weeks before he's needed. Xavier Truss walked off the field early in the fourth quarter, did not return. Warren Erickson replaced him. Kirby Smart said that Truss is fine. Quote, fine.
No, I do believe him on that because it didn't look that bad, and Kirby kind of shook his hand like, hey, you're coming out. You're good for the day.
Yeah.
I do believe him on that one.
Smile Munden dressed out but did not play. I told folks he wasn't going to. Kirby said, it's one of those deals that we continue to treat him and get him better, but if he can't go, then it's next man up. So Jalen Carter did dress out. That was good. Wide receiver A.D. Mitchell dressed out but did not play, and running back Kendall Milton did not dress out. Kendall Milton still has that groin issue. So, again, what you wanted to come out of this game was with no injuries, do what you're supposed to do. Eddie and some of the Jeremy Neighbors and a bunch of the other guys that joined us mentioned that Georgia went out there and did what they were supposed to do. This is Vandy. You shut them out. You scored 56 points. It was a crazy line, 39 points in the game. You went 1.5 times that, so you blew them out. It was strong. And hopefully you didn't come out with any injuries. Kirby says Truss is fine. We'll say, okay. He said Ladd McConkey's fine. Great. So if you came out of this game with no new injuries and 2 weeks to get your guys healthy, and I mentioned this in the 3-2-1, this wide receiver core looks completely different with A.D. Mitchell in there, and the defensive line looks so much better with Jalen Carter in there. So
it's not even funny how
and
much
again,
better.
and against the team you're supposed to kick, whose ass you're supposed to kick, you did that. So hopefully they get stronger and better going into Florida. You do what LSU's doing. You beat the brakes off Florida, and then you turn around and get ready for Tennessee, Florida, and Mississippi State. I mean, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Kentucky. And then, of course, you got that resurgent Georgia Tech team to end the season.
God, they hire an AD. His name is Jay Batt.
Jay Batt, Batt. And I was like, oh, it must be his short nickname. No, on their official Twitter thing, they said, welcome, Jay Batt. Hey, man, he might have grown up poor. They couldn't afford other letters for his name.
I got to look this up. This can't be this man's real ass name.
You know, honestly, I prefer J to Jay. Because that just seems pointless. If your name's going to be Jay, it should just be Jay.
In all of their press conferences, it says Jay Batt. Just Jay.
You know when you talk about, well, that's Jay. Well, it's like the word Q, like a Q, like in a line. How do you spell that?
Q-U-E.
Right. Why do you need the U and the E?
Well, I guess his parents said they didn't need the A and the Y because it is Jay. This man's name is Jay Batt.
Now, let's bring up an interesting thing. I mentioned that they will be looking at Dell McGee. And I think if they went to Dell McGee and said, hey, we got a job for you, Dell would be stupid not to take it. A head coaching job, where they can pay $3 million. This is a guy who's probably making at best $1 million, in that kind of range. You said it's get 3 times as much. You get to be a head coach. He could recruit. He could fill up that thing. I could see them going after Todd Monken. They're like, Todd, you've already been a head coach. In other words, people are going to try to pick over the Kirby Smart staff. And if you're Georgia Tech, you're like, man, we're getting our butts kicked by him. But we just need somebody good enough to beat the teams in the ACC. So I would definitely see a situation where they're like, look, you've lost Mel Tucker. You've lost I'm trying to think of it, Sam Pittman, Dan Lanning. I could definitely see them coming after Todd Monken or Dell McGee, saying, look, we need somebody with an established head coach, one of the hottest offensive coordinators in the country. We'll take that guy, or we'll take a guy who we don't have talent here. Let's take one of the best recruiters in the nation, a guy who knows the Atlanta market, who knows the state, who will recruit to the state. I could definitely see them coming after him. But I think this is Brent Key's job to lose because he's got, 5 more games. He was with Jay Batt at Alabama. They know each other. And if all of a sudden he wins them some games, the next 2 games are against terrible opponents in the ACC. So they might win. They could be up to 4 wins, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, shit, can we get bowl eligible? Because they have a win prior to that. So it's definitely possible.
Chuck Ward says O'Brien. Yeah, I could see that too. Bill O'Brien coming from Alabama with Jay Batt to Georgia Tech. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know that Bill wants that headache though. I mean, if you're winning at, think about it, this was the former NFL head coach. You're at Alabama in the redemption series,
Yeah, everybody gets
coordinator.
Saban. Yeah.
Then you get a much bigger job than Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I was running through that in my head, and the job would be much bigger than you would hope, right?
Yeah,
you would hope than Georgia Tech. Chip Crook says, "Are we overreacting next week during the bye? Maybe critique other teams." I don't know, Roddy. What are we doing over the bye?
I will probably be doing something with the family.
Yeah. Normally we try to take bye weeks and hang out with our wives because they don't really see us on the weekends.
I left Coach Jones' house, came here, said hello to my wife. She's like, "It's a good game." I'm like, "Yes, it was, honey." She's like, "Do you need anything?" I'm like, "No." And now I do 2.5 hours on the watch along show. So I left the house at 2:00 and it'll be 10:00 before we're off here. Someone asked me what I was smoking. Cohiba. And once we leave, I can light it.
I'm ready. I'm ready to roll out, Roddy. What about you, my friend?
I think we've touched on everything. I can't think of anything else we need to comment on.
I think we have too. Georgia's
do you need to give away another shirt?
No, he's getting 2. Chance is sending 2 shirts to that guy.
I thought you were going to have 2 winners.
No. Chance is sending 2 shirts to him. He's already messaged me on Twitter, so he is not a bot. Not a bot. He's real. He's real. He's already messaged me and told him he could pick out 2 shirts. So, guys, we'll do another giveaway. Maybe not the Florida game because I'm going to the Florida game. I will be live though on the show, so I will have my 7-6 attire on. Going to the Florida game, taking the wife to the Florida game. Maybe I'll do another giveaway. Tennessee. We'll do another giveaway. So.
I want to shout out Robbie Dodson for being on there. Chuck Ward, of course. Marie Just Me.
Miss Mary Embroidery.
Steve's pink shirt.
Man, Brett, as always. Chad, Indie Clip, Hamwich.
Ashley.
Mr. Sampson. Miss Mary Embroidery, like I said. Goodness.
Antoine for his super chat. We appreciate that.
Yep. I'm just trying to go back through here and see Alex Mitchum.
Marlon for his.
Marlon, of course, Marlon.
Guys, Brown.
We wouldn't be able to do this show without you guys commenting and, keeping the show moving for us and everything like that. We appreciate it so much. One of the biggest things you can do to help us out, if you love the show, is just hit the like button. Share it with your friend. Share it with a friend. Copy the link. Hit it up into your group chat. Say, man, these guys are pretty funny, which we're not, but you can lie to them. That'll get
you
them
can lie, yes. We endorse lying, yes.
Yes, that'll at least get them to come watch us, and that helps. Also, guys, download the podcast if you missed it. We put it up. So I put it up tonight. It'll be ready to go probably in 30 minutes or so, but go ahead and download the podcast too, and you can listen to whatever you missed on your way to work on Monday. So
we hit 30,000 subscribers.
Yeah, 30,000 subscribers on the YouTube page. You guys, that's crazy. We appreciate it so much, guys. And like I said, before you leave, hit that like button. It helps us out tremendously. The comments on here are always awesome. Steve's pink shirt, we appreciate it. Red and Black Dogs. All you guys, thanks so much. And we'll see you not next week. Next week's a bye week, guys. But the week after that, Georgia, Florida. It's going to be a good one. We're going to overreact. For Radi and Nabulsi, I'm Paul Maharry. Thanks so much for our sponsors, the Rogue Shop, ASW Distillery, and the 7-6. We'll see you next. No, I just said that. We'll see you 2 weeks from now. You can't keep me anywhere. See ya.